Hello and welcome everybody. It's Matt from Pure MTG. Got a bit of probably a longer video while we go live here, and I don't know. They did it kind of last minute, but I've been wanting to do a review of the set for some time, and there's so much hype about this One Ring, and now the bounty's $2 million, and I mean, if this sells for $2 million, or if the offers are legit, and somebody pulls the ring and sells it for $2 million, that'll be quite interesting. So. Very interesting. So the most recent update, as far as I'm aware, is Star City Games released a article that said that the bounty right now is $2 million. There's a Spanish game store in Spain, obviously. They have released this bulletin. Now I don't speak Spanish, but we can translate this with Google, and it basically just states that attention. Guild of Dragons offers 2 million euros plus the travel and stay in Valencia, Spain. I'm not sure what Valencia Pela is, but they want to buy the One Ring. So yeah, $2 million right now. If that were to sell, that would be multiple times the most expensive card ever sold as far as the one Google search that I did and found this website. From what I understand, this is the most expensive Magic card ever sold, which was a artist proof signed by Christopher Rush for $615,000. Yeah. Obviously, there are many more Black Lodi than the one of One Ring. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves is this all Fugazi? Is there really the One Ring anywhere? Is it actually in the packs? Or is it just hype? Now, it's working. We're going to go over to TCG. These are the collector's boxes. Now, the collector's packs and the gift packs are the only way you can actually pull the one of One Ring, the serialized one of one. I highly doubt it's going to be in the gift bundles. It almost certainly is going to be from the actual collector boxes. But yeah, these things, as the bounty goes up, it seems to be working. That it's just going up. Started at around the 350 marker and plateaued for a little bit, and then just all of a sudden, boom, the set comes closer to release, and it's just been going up. Another thing you can do is not just looking at this chart, but you can actually view the sales history. This isn't just one seller. This is a lot of sales. Multiple quantities of two, and then this is just all today. Or I guess this would be yesterday. This is all today. All from here on up. All today. What was that? 20 sales? It's pretty good. So yeah, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Do a quick check on audio and whatnot to make sure that I'm live and I'm not just talking to myself. Just because I did set this up last minute, so I just want to make sure we're on the air. Because OBS says once a broadcast has been created, your chat will appear here. And I don't see it. Am I live? It says I'm live. Let's go to the channel. Doesn't say I'm live. Why am I not live? It says I'm live. Privacy. Oh my god, it's private? Why the hell is it private? Jeez. Well, the first few minutes of this video apparently were private. I don't know why. Why would it be private? What kind of stupid setting is that? I've been talking to myself. I'm about to restart I'm just gonna restart. I'm just gonna read. I thought it was pretty good. Well, we're live now. I don't know what's gonna happen in the replay of the live stream, but yeah. So, anyways, as I was saying, I guess I'll do a quick rundown of what I said previously. So I wanted to do I've been wanting to do a set review of this for some time, and I came across this bounty for serialized card now reaches $2 million. There's a Spanish game store that they have this bounty. They released this banner This banner here is in Spanish, I believe, and we use some Google Translate to figure out exactly what it says. It says, attention, I'm guessing dragons? Guild of Dragons offers 2 million euros, plus the travel and stay in Valencia, Spain, plus Valencia Palea? I don't know what that means, but they want to buy the One Ring. Well, this is the contact details, I'm guessing. This is on their official website. It's like some game store that's offering $2 million just kind of out of nowhere, which is very interesting. And so that's interesting. So if this were to sell for $2 million, this would be the most expensive card ever sold by a magnitude of many multitudes. Now, granted, yes, it is the most rare card in the world because there is only one of one. To me, it doesn't have that kind of value. I mean, even if I had, $100 million and like $2 million was like nothing to me, I still wouldn't buy it. It doesn't really interest me that much. Quite frankly, I'd probably rather have a Black Lotus more than this ring, but this ring hype is pretty, I mean, it's doing something. But yeah, this here, by the one Google search that I did, that this article, dicebreaker.com, they released, they're saying that this Black Lotus 8.5 near mint, limited edition, artist proof, signed by Christopher Rush, is the most expensive card ever sold by $615,000, and the one before that was a Mind Twist beta. For whatever reason, $208,000, which seems kind of insane to me. Not even graded, unless it was graded, I don't know. Either way. So, is the hype worth it? Is the hype insane? Is the set good? I can tell you that the hype's working as far as the charts going. In the last month, it was in the 350s for the collector's boosters. Now, granted, the collector's boosters are the only place besides the gift bundles, the collector gift bundles, that you can actually get the one of one ring. Will the actual one of one ring be in any of these? Who knows? I mean, if I were WotC and they had the ability to hold the card for a while, let people just buy the product. There's 3 million of these collector boxes. Do you really think that they're, I don't know. Do you think that they're really going random? I don't know. I'm in the camp that they can control when the card gets released, and they can make sure that their numbers are record highs and make tons of money. So I don't really foresee them passing that opportunity, because the moment the ring gets opened, if the set's not good, then yes, it's just going to go, it's going to just die down like every other set. I want to review the set today and figure out if the set is good, if there's other cards that are worthwhile. I've heard there are some good reprints, but I have not looked at the set as a whole. But yeah, I mean, these they're selling. I've used sales history on TCG Player. All of these are all today. Some of them with multiple quantities of 1s and 2s. Yesterday, again, just tons more sales in the 420s, 429s, 424s. And these, I mean, there's 3 million of these collector boxes. Your odds of pulling the one of one ring, this is directly from the product's description that somebody posted on Reddit. It is 0.00003% chance. There's going to be 3 million collector boosters, not boxes, but boosters, divided amongst the two products that are collectors boosters. But yeah, 0.00003%. That is in the billion percentages. That's very low. The Elven Ring is 0.01%. Not the worst odds, I suppose. And the Dwarven Ring, 0.025%, and the Human Ring, 0.03%. I think these cards will still be worth quite a lot. Matter of fact, I actually don't know, is there actually pre-sales for any of the serialized one-of-ones? Or not the one-of-ones, any of the other serialized rings. It does not look like it, because this is sorted by value, and I have to imagine they'd be worth quite a ton. Yeah. But, I mean, even the six collectors, there's only 5 listings. These would be, in my opinion, the more safer route to go. Now, granted, once the one of one ring's found, if I were to find the one of one ring, I would probably hold it, let the bounties keep going up, and then I would probably just put it on auction and just let the rich people just go at it. Let them fight for it. The one of one ring, just, why would I sell it why would I give it to this guy that's going to offer $2 million, which you know that if you put this up for auction, they'd fight over it. There's zero reason to do that. So yeah. So with all that out of the way, I have the set pulled up. 289 cards. I'm going to go over every card, but the commons and uncommons, I'm kind of just going to breeze through. If they look insane, then cool. If not, then whatever. But I'm going to go by color, and so let's get into it. After I get a drink of water here. This set has to be good, right? The value's insane. Or as far as, well, the price is insane. I shouldn't say the value, the price. Mainly held up by the 1/1 ring. So, the Banish from Adoros. 5 mana, already pretty bad. Exile target creatures, all it does. It gets a little cheaper. Yep, no uses there. Even if it was instant, I don't think it'd get used. The Battle of Bywater. And also, I don't know the Lord of the Rings lore, like, at all. So, these, like, Build a Pony, I don't know what that means. Like, I'm not going to have any of the... I'm not going to get any of the jokes. I'm not going to get... There's a bunch of flavor text everywhere. I'm not going to bother reading any of that. Don't really know what any of that means, but... Yeah, anyways, the Battle of Bywater. 2 white and a colorless. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, then create a food token for each creature you control. Sorcery speed. I know there's some food themes going on in this set, so I'm not going to say this is bad. It's only 3 mana for a board wipe. Destroys all creatures with power 3 or greater, so you could maybe do a food theme with a bunch of lower creatures. Build a pony. When he enters the battlefield, create 2 food tokens. Okay, 4 mana, 2 food. Sacrifice a food until end of turn. Target creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Doesn't really excite me that much unless there's something cool with that. 2 food, I guess, is fine. Boromir, Warden of the Tower, 2 colorless, 1 white, 3/3 vigilance, legendary. It can be a commander. Whoa. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. That's already a good 3 mana, 3/3 vig human. That's already solid. Sacrifice them. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. The ring tempts you. I 100% don't know what that means yet, so I guess I'm going to find out somewhere along this video. You know what? I'm going to scroll way down to the bottom. I'm guessing it's a token. I kind of need to know that before I review the set, or else I'm just going to like read a bunch of cards that mean nothing to me. Can I just control F ring? The ring. Okay, well, you know, I'm gonna have to let me pull up another tab here and just kind of Google it real quick. I have not looked up, like I said, much of anything of the set. The ring tempts you. MTG. Okay, let's see here. Images. Open image. Open image in new tab. All right, the ring. Your ring bearer is legendary and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Okay. Whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices at the end of combat. And then whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. Okay. Got it. And I'm guessing these are kind of like going through the dungeon where like you start at the first one and then every time the ring tempts you, you go from stage to stage. I wonder, do you get all of them simultaneously, or do you get one? Does this go away and then like number 2 kicks in, and then when you go to the third one, does number 1 and 2, are they still in effect, or I don't know? Yeah. Anyways, so Boromir still very strong. I have to imagine he's worth some money there. Dawn of a New Age, 1 colorless, 1 white enchantment. Dawn of a New Age enters the battlefield with a hope counter on it for each creature you control. Alright, at the beginning of your end step, remove a hope counter from Dawn of the New Age. If you do, draw a card. If Dawn of the New Age has no hope counters on it, sacrifice it and you gain 4 life. That's solid. That's a good mythic. Yeah, I can't complain with that at all. It's kind of useless early on. And also, I should say that I'm reviewing this in the stance of Commander only. I don't really play any other formats, so Commander is going to be my only view on this entire set. So when I say if card's good or bad, my view is in a fairly casual but semi-CEDH level of deck building. That's kind of how I play. I play borderline CEDH with friends. We don't really do a ton of infinite combos, but they do exist in our decks, but we don't try to do like the food chain Corvold, squee thing. When it becomes too easy to win like that, we tend to take those out of the deck and make it a little less consistent, just to kind of give it some more fun. But yeah, Dawn of a New Age, pretty good value. Later on in the game, it's going to be nice and cool. Dunedain Blade? Duendain Blade. It's got a tilde, so I don't know how to say it, but it's Dunedain. 1 colorless, 1 white. Equip creature gets +2/+1. Equip a human. 1 colorless. Equip anything else. 3. Yeah, it's a common. Eagles of the North, 6 mana. I don't even want to read it. But anyways, flying when it enters the battlefield. Creature control get +1 and first strike. It's a common. What are you going to do? But not great. It's very expensive. East Farthing Farmer. 3 mana, 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, create a food token. When you do, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each food token you control. I mean, it's okay. But for commander, meh. If they got counters, it'd be insane. Or it'd be very strong. But just 1/1 until end of turn for the foods, meh. Eastmark Cavalier. Vigilance whenever Eastmark Cavalier enters the battlefield. Why is the broadcast not... Why is the... Private broadcasts are not supported. Yeah, but it's not private anymore. It says public. Refresh. There's like no chat. Live streaming isn't available right now. What is happening? Am I just streaming to myself? Oh, I know why. Bear with me as I struggle bust through what is a live stream. Am I live right now? Am I live right now? I am. Look at that. Alright, well, so there's a chat here, so I'll just leave that up, I guess. Excellent. Anyways, moving on. Eastmark Cavalier, 1 colorless, 1 white. Vigilance 2/2. When it enters the or when it deals combat damage to a goblin or orc, destroy that creature. Flavor, but it's common, whatever. I don't really see it. I mean, it is a human knight. I don't really know how many goblins or orcs that a 2/2 will ever, you know, it doesn't seem that amazing. Eowyn, Lady of Rona, 3 mana for a 2/4. Legendary. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gains your choice of First Strike or Vigilance until end of turn. If that creature is equipped, it gains First Strike and Vigilance until end of turn. Equipped abilities you activate cost 1 less to activate. It's okay. That's a solid uncommon. Nothing insane, but maybe Voltron decks will like that. The equipability part and being able to get like kind of a free First Strike and Vig. It's fairly cheap overall, so not bad. Errand Rider of Gondar. 3 mana, 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Then, if you don't control a legendary creature, put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. I don't really see that ever seeing a playing commander. Escape from Orthanc. 1 colorless. Target creature gets +1/+3. Gains flying until end of turn. Untap it. Meh. It is a instant, but still. There are, I mean, Brave the Elements is just better than that. Just protection is just better than 1/3. Not many pumps are really played in higher level Magic or Commander, I should say. Esquire of the King, 1 white, 1/1. Creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn. This ability costs 2 less to activate if you control a legendary creature. I do like these this theme around controlling a legendary creature, especially in Commander. You're almost always gonna have a legendary creature, so these effects, even this bad one, I don't consider paying 3 mana and all your creatures getting 1/1 until end of turn great. There are auras and enchantments that just do better, like this one, Flowering of the White Tree. It's just better. I'd rather play that all day long than playing a 1/1 that has to tap and it takes like 1,000,000 mana to activate. It's just no good. We got Faramir, Field Commander, 4 mana, 3/3. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, draw a card. Okay. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Faramir Field Commander as your ring bearer, create a 1/1 soldier token. Sure, it's kind of whatever. Flowering of the White Tree is insane. I actually did see this one previously. 2 white mana, legendary creatures you control get +2/+1 and have ward. Non-legendary creatures you control get +1/+1. The ward part is what makes this, to me, insane. I mean, ward's not like crazy, but it's nice to have. Ward 1, just a little. It's just a little nice, like just. The addition to, if it just had the pluses, it would just kind of be an okay card. But with the Ward 1, I think it just takes it to the next bus. And it's usable, I guess, is what I'm saying. Okay, here. Fog on the Barrows Down. 3 mana enchantment. Enchanted creature is a spirit and can't attack or block. It loses all other creature types. Which notably, legendary is a super type, so it will not lose that. Which is interesting. Forge Anew, 2 colorless, 1 white. Enchantment. When Forge Anew enters the battlefield, return target equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. As long as it's your turn, you may activate equipped abilities anytime you could cast an instant. Okay. You may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost on the first equip ability you activate during each of your turns. Wow, that has a lot of good things on it. Yeah, that's fantastic. So it's an enchantment that revitalizes one of your equipments to the battlefield, which is great. You can equip them at instant speed, which is great. Only on your turn, which is fair. It's 3 mana. I would say this is pretty solid, honestly. A free equip on things like that Titan Hammer for Hammer Time, for other formats. Like this could maybe see play. It's a little expensive for those decks. I don't think they run a ton of mana, but anyways, I mean they run Stoneforge Mystic, which is like I think 2, right? Frodo Sauron's Bane, 1 white for a 1/2. If Frodo Sauron is a citizen, it becomes a halfling scout with a base power and toughness of 2/3 and lifelink for 2 mana. If it's a scout, it becomes a hey, what's up, Prime? If it's a scout, it becomes a halfling rogue with whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game if the ring has tempted you 4 or more times, otherwise the ring tempts you. I don't know. It's fine, I suppose. You know, like, it's just, it's fine. I really wish the OBS would work for chat, but instead I have to, like, look way over here. I guess I can put this up here. Sure, that's easier. All right. Frodo Sauron's Bane, I don't know. It's basically that there's another card that's like this that I never play and I don't think it's worth. I mean, it's a ton of mana to sink into. At least you could do it at instant speed, which is nice. If you got nothing else better to do, maybe it's worth playing. It's a halfling citizen, which is a really weird. Like, why not human? I mean, or not human. Why not like soldier or something? But like citizen is just kind of. I mean, I know he's not a soldier, so I guess it makes sense. But anyways, Gandalf the White, 5 mana, 4/5, flash. I like that. You may cast legendary spells and artifacts as though they had flash. That's nice. If a legendary permanent or an artifact entering the battlefield or leaving the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers additional time. You can't have too many of those. Why not? I mean, it is only for legendary permanents, so not amazing, but I think it'll see play. Hobbit Sting. Hobbit Sting deals X damage to target creature, where X is the number of food or number of creatures you control plus the number of foods you control. Okay, so it's a kill spell in white. For most decks, it's a decent common. It's not as good as like swords, obviously, but it's hard to compete. Realistically, this probably should have been just 1 white, but that might be a little too strong for other formats than Commander. Landroval Horizon's Witness, 5 mana for a 3/4 flying. Whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, target attacking creature gains flying. Yeah, it's. Yeah. Not too great, but they need to have some fluff. Lost to Legend 2. I'm basically going through the commons and uncommons just in case there's some fire. I think it's Filter Out was uncommon from last set, and yeah, that was a very good uncommon. So I'll just probably skip commons. I can't imagine there's a ton of crazy commons. Lost to Legend 2 white to put target non-land historic permanent into its owner's library 4th from the top. Non-land historic. Okay, so artifacts, legendaries, sagas are historic. That's not bad. Especially if like they go to crack a fetch land, and then you shuffle in something of theirs, and you can cast this in response. It is instant. Again, this should probably be 1 white instead of 2 white. It's a little expensive since it doesn't exile it. I mean, I get that they're trying not to create more like crazy swords and paths and whatnot. But I think that with this going only 4 from the top, it probably could have been 1 white. I don't know. Maybe that'd be too good. All right, Nimble Hobbit. When he attacks, you may sacrifice a food or pay 3 and tap something. That's kind of whatever. Now for Wrath, now for Ruin. 4 mana. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. They gain Vigilance till end of turn. The ring tempts you. Sure. Not anything great. Protector of Gondar, 4 mana for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 soldier. Meh. Reprieve, instant draw. Return target spell to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Huh. That's kind of interesting. It's not amazing, but if you're playing colors that don't have access to like, counter spells or whatever, this is sort of a counter spell if they don't have mana to recast it. Maybe it saves you from a board wipe for a turn, and then you can come back in and win. So this is a flexible card. It is any spell, so decent. Rosy Cotton of South Lane. 3 mana for a 1/1. When enters the battlefield, create a food. And whenever you create a token, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control other than Rosie. Okay. Samwise. This is one of the dudes from the movie, I think. 2 mana for a 2/1 flash. When it enters the battlefield, choose up to one target permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Return it to your hand. Then the ring tempts you. That's not bad. I mean, it's an uncommon, but like, it's got a lot of stuff onto it. The whole like, I mean, 2 mana. Keeping up 2 mana is not terrible. Yeah, I can see that seeing play. Second Breakfast. Up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+0 and create a food. 3 mana for a instant. Meh. I don't really. These pumps like this, I don't really use pump spells anymore. I think that's pretty old-fashioned. Back in the day, you would actually use like Giant Growth and the like, but nowadays, Shire Sheriff. 2 mana for 2/2. Vig. When it enters the battlefield, you make sacrifice a token. When you do, exile target creature an opponent controls until Shire leaves the battlefield. Meh. I mean, realistically, this could be. Yeah, that might be too strong without the clause of when Shire Sheriff leaves. I was gonna say that would even because you're sacrificing a token, but it's probably pretty easy to do in a token deck. Slip on the Ring. 2 mana, instant, exile target creature you control, then return to the battlefield on your control. The ring tempts you. So a nice flicker spell. This is a common, but I would say this is playable for sure. Especially if you're going with the ring tempts you tribal, if that even is a thing. Probably. At least they'd probably want you to play it that way. Soldiers of the Great Host. 4 mana for a 2/2 flying flash. When the soldier enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0. I mean, this is more playable than this pump spell because it's a body and a flyer and has flash, but it is 4 mana, so nothing crazy. Stalwart of Osgiliath? Sure. 5 mana for a 4/3. When it enters the battlefield, you get tempted. And when you draw your second card each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Stalwarts of Osgiliath. Nope, not really playable. Tale of Tenuvial. 5 mana saga. Target creature you control becomes indestructible for as long as you control Tale of Tenuvial. That's a different kind of effect, I think. I don't remember any sagas having an effect that like targets a permanent and then stays that way until like while you control it. I mean, I don't really look at a ton of sagas to be completely honest, but it sounds like a new kind of way to deal with a saga, which is pretty interesting. And this does not have read ahead. Okay. The second one is return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's kind of nice. Okay, you're paying 5 mana, so it's gotta be crazy, right? Third chapter, up to 2 target creatures you control each gain lifelink until end of turn. That's pretty weak. Why is the third one so weak? It's an uncommon, I guess. 2 mana, 2/1. When Took Reaper dies, the ring tempts you. That must be. The Tooks came 100 strong from Tookboro and the Green Hills. Is a Took like a dwarf or a halfling? Oh, it's a halfling peasant. Okay. War of the Last Line. This is a rare. It's going to be good. 4 mana. Search your library for a legendary creature card. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle. That happens twice. Okay. And then creature control gain double strike until end of turn, and the ring tempts you. So you pay 4 mana and you get to search for a legendary creature twice. That's playable. I've played. There's a card that does. It does that for legendaries and call. Siren's Call or something like that. Yeah. And that one was 3. So this is just one more, but this happens twice, and then you also get the double strike and the tempting of the ring, if that matters to you. So yeah, pretty decent. West Wolf Rider, 2 mana for a 3/1. When it enters you can sacrifice it to destroy target artifact or enchantment. Activate only as a sorcery. This is a stupid clause. The card's dead to me. You cannot pass 1 white instant. Destroy target creature that blocked or was blocked by a legendary creature this turn. Again, I don't like these stipulation cards in Commander. You got to have instant removal that is unconditional, like Path of Exile, like Swords of Plowshare. Even Dispatch is fine in a deck that has a ton of artifacts, but when it's like they have to block specifically by a legendary creature, it's maybe in Standard, but I doubt it. And isn't it you may not pass? Or maybe it was you cannot pass. I thought it was you may not pass. It's been a while since maybe you may not pass is from Diablo 2 when that dude's like standing on the road and you don't have the thing. He's like, you just may not pass. Arwen's Gift, 4 mana for a sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control 2 or more legendary creatures. See, I like that. That's cool. Those kind of effects where like the spell gets cheaper. I do like this theme that they have that seems to be occurring throughout the set so far. If this was an instant speed, it would actually be very playable. But as a sorcery speed, I don't know. Scry 2, draw 2 is decent. At 3 mana, maybe. If it was instant speed, it was definitely C play. Even at 4 mana, like with the stipulation of the 1 mana, it's nice. The Bath Song, 4 mana, uncommon saga. Draw 2 cards and discard a card. That happens twice, and then shuffle any number of target cards from your graveyard into your library. Add blue. Huh. That's not terrible. Very rare do you have like ways to ramp like this in blue. I mean, it is pretty like late. Like you're playing this probably on turn 3, maybe turn 2 if you had like a really insane hand. So then turn 4, turn 5, you're getting 2 blue mana. That's kind of when you want it. So sure, yeah, this is interesting. The whole shuffle your stuff back into your grave is kind of whatever, or back from your grave is whatever. What does this purple mean? Oh, it's just I hover over it. Maybe. Oh. Okay, now the purple's gone. All right. Anyways, Bewitching Leechcraft, 2 mana enchantment aura. When it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature has, if this creature would untap during your untap step, remove a 1/1 counter from it instead. If you do, untap it. If this creature would untap during your untap step, remove a 1/1 counter. Otherwise, it doesn't untap. So if it has no 1/1 counters, you can't untap it. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, it requires a there's just better cards. Like, it is a common, sure, but it just, I don't know. I wouldn't ever play this card in Commander, so next card. Bill Ferny, Bree Swindler, 2 mana for a 2/1. When he enters the battle, when he becomes blocked, choose 1. Create a treasure. Target opponent gains control of target horse you control. If you do, remove Bill Ferny from combat and create your treasure tokens. Interesting. Give me a moment. I need to check something. I think somebody's in my lawn mowing it, which is very weird. Oh, it's my dad. Oh, okay. They're setting up a flea market. Anyways, I just heard the lawnmower going on in the backyard. I'm like, what the hell? I'm the one who mows the lawn in my house. All right, Birthday Escape. What a weird name, but 1 blue sorcery. Draw a card. The ring attempts you. The ring attempts you. It attempts you. Sure, I guess. Born Under a Wind. You may cast this spell as though it had... Wait, you may cast spells this turn as though they had flash. Draw a card. Huh, 2 mana. There's a land that does this effect, and it's used pretty often. I wonder if this would be a replacement. I mean, it's not a land, but the land you play is a sacrifice land. Not as good. This might be accompanied in those decks, maybe. But I think the land having the extra flexibility and also not coming into play tapped and tapped for colors is probably just better. But decent. Born Upon a Wind could be, for 2 mana. If it was 1 blue, I think it'd be very good. Captain of Umbar. 3 mana, 2/3, draw a card, discard a card. If this had no activation, it'd be useful, but I don't want to pay for that effect. Council's Deliberation, 2 mana, instant draw a card. Whenever you scry, if you control an island, you may exile Council's Deliberation from your graveyard. If you do, draw a card. If you control an island, so you draw a card, whenever you scry, you can remove it and draw. Hey, TCDD, what's up? I don't really see this. I mean, it's like future draw 1. You're drawing 1 now, you're drawing 1 later. Deceive the Messenger, 1 mana. Target creature gets 3 -0 or -3/-0 till end of turn. Amass Orcs 1. No. I mean, it's not horrible, but I don't think I'd ever play it in Commander. Dreadful as the Storm, 3 mana. Target creature has base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. The ring tempts you. This is one of those, like, to me, this is the better version of, like, the pumps, like the +3/+2 or whatever. I mean, obviously, +5/5. It's kind of +5/5 depending on what the power toughness is. Probably more 4/4. So you could turn a 1/1 into a 5/5 and then get tempted by the ring. And that could be awesome, I guess. But for 3 mana, I don't know. Maybe in a ring tempting deck where you're like wanting all the effects, maybe. Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, 3 mana for a 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, It or another creature enters the battlefield. Scry 1. If this is the second time this ability resolved, the ring tempts you. Okay, sure. Yep, every assessment that I'm giving for it's my personal opinion, of course, but it is all made in the bounds of Commander. I don't really play any other formats. I have like some passing knowledge of Standard. I used to play a ton of Standard, so I have like an idea of it, and I've watched a few games of old Standard. I would say old as in like 6 months ago. So like Fable the Mirror Breaker, and I remember that was running rampant, and it's like there was just mirror matches of it. But so yeah, I have somewhat of an idea, but realistically, I don't of Standard. And then the other formats, I mean, Two-Headed Giant I play a little bit of, but that's basically just Commander. And then also keeping an eye out for, we have a format that we created, Commander Raids, and that is like a PvE format, but it's also still basically a Commander variant. So yeah, most of it's going to be Commander. Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, 4 mana for a 2/4 with Flash, legendary Avatar Wizard. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had Flash. It's pretty good. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Gandalf, draw a card. Now, here's the thing. So the ring tempts you. Your ring bearer is legendary and can't be blocked. Can you put the ring on multiple things? Now, that's one thing I don't even know how this mechanic works. Let's pull that up. I need to figure this out because there's the ring mechanic MTG. Let's pull up the actual like Scryfall, I guess. All right, let's pull it up here. I'm live streaming right now. What's up? Yeah. Give me 1 minute. Sorry about that. My dad needed some zip ties. Like I said, they're setting up the flea market in the backyard, or not flea market, a yard sale. All right. So as the ring tempts you, you get an emblem named the Ring if you don't have one. Then your emblem gains its next ability, and you choose a creature you control to become or remain the ring bearer. So yeah, so it seems like you're picking a different creature each time. The ring can tempt you even if you don't control a creature. The ring gains its abilities in order from top to bottom. Once it gains an ability, it has the ability for the rest of the game. Okay, so it is sort of like a dungeon. So so all the things are retroactive. That's kind of cool. Each time the ring tempts you, you must choose a creature if you control one. Each player can have only one emblem named the Ring and only one ring bearer at a time. Okay, so that is good to know. So basically, once you get this ring to the max, so realistically, you only need 4 tempts. Any tempt past that is useless. Unless there's like cards that say, when, like for instance this, whenever you get tempted, because you can probably still tempt but not gain any more access, but you'll still draw a card from Gandalf. So, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Gandalf seems okay, especially as an uncommon. It seems okay. With Flash, it's a pretty powerful effect for an uncommon. Glorious Gale, 2 mana. Counter target creature spell. If it was a legendary spell, the ring tempts you. That's not bad. 2 mana, it's pretty cheap. Legendary spells are quite rampant, and tempting you is just kind of a plus. So if you have Gandalf out, you'll draw a card, counter the creature. Overall, pretty good. Goldberry River Daughter. She's a thick woman. Alright, so 2 mana, 1/3. Move a counter of each kind not on Goldberry River Daughter. Goldberry River Daughter sounds like a, I don't know, what is it? It's like a country band or something. Goldberry River Daughter. You guys hear their Goldberry River Daughter's new album? It's pretty good. Anyways, from target you control onto Goldberry. Move 1 counter from Goldberry onto another target permanent you control. If you do, draw a card. That seems like a lot of fuss. It's just a lot of work. You're just moving counters around. I guess it's, I don't know. Sure, somebody break that card. It could be good. It's a nymph. You know. Greyhaven's Navigator. 3 mana, 3/2. Flash when enters the battlefield. Scry 1. Sure. Elf Pilot. Pilot's a new creature type I haven't seen many of. Hithlane Knots. 2 mana instant tap target creature. Scry 1, draw a card. It's fine. Not really. I mean, for 2 mana, I would never play it, but it's a common. What do you expect? Horses of the Bruinen. 5 mana. Jeez. Sorcerer, return up to 2 target creatures to their owner hands. Scry 1, the ring tempts you. If it were instant, it probably still wouldn't see play, to be honest. In Commander, of course. Loreth of the Healing House. I don't know, I was about to read horse. Loreth of the Healing Horse. 3 mana for a 1/2. Untap target legendary, or untap target permanent. Untap 2 other target legendary creatures. That seems pretty solid. I like that. If you have a themed deck around untapping and tapping things, getting tons of effects. For instance, the new Dina and what's her name? There's a new Dina card. It's a blue, black, and green, I think. She has like tap and like you draw a card, and then you can place a land down, and then if it's like the second time it happens, each player takes damage or something like that. So having things down tap is pretty nice. 3 mana for a 1/4, a little expensive, but it's a pretty decent effect. Like Kyora's Followers, 2 mana for, I think it's a 1/1 probably, maybe a 2/2. It's just untap target permanent. So, you know, this is kind of okay. Isolation at Orthanc. 4 mana instant. Put target creature into its owner's library, second from the top. Huh. Not very playable in Commander. It's not terrible. One of those things where if it was cheaper, it would be quite useful. 4 mana is insane. Especially since if it was target permanent, maybe it'd be better. I like the idea of somebody going to tutor in some way or fetch land or whatever, and then you cast this and put whatever their thing is into their library and shuffle around. That's pretty cool. But, yeah. It's too expensive. What is this? Ithilien Kingfisher. 3 mana for a 2/1 flyer. When it dies, draw a card. You know, I like to read ahead, and in my brain, I'm like, it's going to be enter the battlefield, draw a card. But no, this is when it dies. Interesting. Not playable, in my opinion. Knights of Dol Amarath. It's a common. A lot of these are going to be bulk commons, so that's why I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Knights of Dol Amarath. 4 mana, 3/3. Whenever you draw your second card, you put a 1 counter on it. Meh. Lorien Revealed. 5 mana. Draw 3 cards with Island Cycling. Yeah, too expensive. Lost Isle Calling. 2 mana enchantment. Whenever you scry, you put a verse counter on it. And then you can pay 6 mana, exile it, draw a card for each verse counter on it. If it had 7 or more verse counters on it, take an extra turn after this one, activate only as a sorcery. Why do they keep putting that on cards? Like, you have to do so many things. You have to scry 7 times in order to even activate the ability. Then you have to pay 6 mana. Like, just stop with the sorcery bullshit. Anyways, that card, I mean, it's not a horrible card. It's cheap to get out there and get the scries going, but, man, I hate the sorcery crap. It's just annoying. Meneldar, Swift Savior. 4 mana for a 3/3 flyer. And when it deals combat damage to a player, exile up to 1 target you control, then return it. So it's a kitty cat, but you have to deal damage. It's decent. A flicker bird for 4. It's not horrible. Displacerkin I think is also 4, way stronger, but this isn't horrible. It's a decent uncommon. Nimrodel. Nimrodel? It's just Nimrod. All right. Nimrodel. Watcher. 2 mana for a 2/1. Whenever you scry, it gets 1/0 and can't be blocked. Only triggers once each turn. All right. That made that card unplayable. Why only once? Just let the guy get big. Pelargir Survivor. Pelargir? Survivor. 2 mana, 1/3. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast instant sorcery spells. Or you can mill somebody for a whopping 6 mana. That's unplayable. The mana dork portion is not bad. 1/3 is not too bad to scoff at. Then blue doesn't really have mana dork, so this is a mana dork for blue. That's pretty decent. They cast instant sorceries. Press the enemy. 4 mana, instant, return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with equal or lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. If this was from the graveyard, being able to, like, pseudo Snapcaster Mage, that would be very strong. But the fact that you have to have it in your hand as well, kind of requires too many things to line up. You going to Vegas in the fall? Nah, I'm not. I'm going to Gen Con, or not Gen Con, Game Con? Is it Gen Con? In Indianapolis? Gen Con, right? What is this garbage? What is this journey crap? Gen Con. Just Google it. Anyways, Gen Con. Yeah, I'm going to Gen Con Indy, and that's going to be where the budget's going, basically. I went to Vegas last year for my birthday. Vegas, to me, honestly, was kind of, just massively over expensive or overcharged for everything. But it was a fun time. Are you going? I did see the tickets were on sale. Oh, that was one thing I wanted to do real quick. I was curious if the Vegas the Black Lotus passes sold. At one point, I saw yesterday that they weren't sold out. See if they're still sold out. How do I buy tickets? Like when we were buying our tickets, they were literally sold out within like minutes. I wanna buy tickets. How do I buy the tickets? Here, I'll put there. How do I buy the tickets, guys? What's going on? The badges are here. You would think there'd be a link, like a link underneath it, like buy the tickets now. There's 100,000 open. I want to buy the tickets. Buy ticket. I'm not a Philadelphia. Wait, can I go to their website? How do I? Is it this? Why is it so hard to buy tickets? I seen it through an email yesterday, so... Events. MagicCon Las Vegas. I don't want to join your newsletter. I want to learn more about the MagicCon. Now I want to... I don't understand why this is so difficult. You know what? I give up. Oh, I found it. Buy tickets. Right, what's still available a day later? Is the Black Lotus VIP still open? Wow. I don't know why everything's in euros, but can you really still buy them? You can. So that's I mean, I guess Magic 30 was definitely a bigger thing. Oh, actually, you know what is interesting? Remember last year they did like a bunch of is it actually on this one? Or did they change how it was worded? Oh, this is last year's. Wait, what? Exclusive universe event. Oh, that's different. Oh, but anyways, they took some advice. It was something, was it on this page here? Yeah, so exclusive signing opportunities with Magic the Gathering notables. They did that last year for us, you know, with the whole, like, mess up. They also are including breakfast, which they didn't do in the VIP lounge before. They had, like, snacks and, like, drinks and stuff like that. And I think maybe coffee. The early access to the show floor, I don't 100% know what that means, because the last time, the only early access we had was literally, we went in before the whole flood of people, so like it wasn't really even early access. But if this means that you get to go to the places an hour early, that is much better than before, and we did bitch about that. So that's pretty cool. Oh, look at that! Exclusive VIP casual cash draft with Wizard of the Coast employees on Friday. See, this is good. They listened. They really did. Like all of these are what we were hoping about. Or it's what we got. But they were asking questions of like, you know, is this did this make this better and stuff like that. So they actually, I'm very surprised that they listened to this, and they like included it like immediately. So that's pretty cool. I like that. All right. Sorry for the completely off the rails topic switch, but so back into the set. We're on Rangers of Ithilien. 4 mana for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of up to one target creature with lesser power for as long as you control it, and the ring attempts you. Okay, so it's a steal. So you can steal lesser power. So you can steal a 2/2 or a 1/1. There's a decent number of strong creatures in Magic the Gathering that have 2 or 1 power, where you wouldn't mind having, but it's not great. The ring tempts you, which is kind of cool. So you could like make this legendary, I guess. I don't know. What happens if you make something a ring bearer that you control, but then you give it away, or or you lose control over it? Is it still your ring bearer? How does that work? Is there some rulings here? The ring tempts you. The ring gains the abilities from. Okay. Each player can only have an emblem and the ring, and only one ring bearer at a time. So what happens if you have a ring bearer and then you steal somebody else's ring bearer? How does that happen? What happens with that? Do you have to like pick which ring bearer is the ring bearer? There's no rules on this, which is a little strange. You must have to like specifically pick. Yeah, that's my guess. Alright, so a decent card. Saruman the White, 5 mana for a 4/4, ward 2. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, amass orcs. The amass orcs is interesting. I like amass. It's a decent thing. So you get a 2/2 whenever you cast your second spell each turn. So it's sort of I don't know, a crappy ledger shredder. Not really, but kind of. This is only when you cast your seconds. If you got to do it every time two people, any player casted 2 spells, this would be a decent card. All right, we got a counter spell. What do we got? Saruman's Trickery, 3 mana, counter target spell. Okay, Amass Orcs 1. That's not bad. It's a counter spell where you also get a blocker. That's okay. Sure, it's decent. Scroll of Isildur, 3 mana, gain control of up to 1 target artifact for as long as you control. Scroll of Isildur. The ring tempts you. Alright, tap, this one, yeah, 3 mana. Tap up to 2 target creatures, put a stun counter on them. If I remember correctly, a stun counter means that if it were to be untapped, it doesn't, and then you remove the stun counter, and then the next time it would be untapped. Draw a card for each tapped creature that target opponent controls. That could be decent, actually. It requires a little bit of setup, but if all goes well, you're drawing 2 cards. If all goes bare minimum, you're drawing 2 cards, most likely. So that's decent. For 3 mana, that's a decent number of effects. You get the ring tempt, you get gain control of an artifact for a few turns, steal their soul ring. Morning, Bob. So yeah, decent. It's not the best, but it's decent. It's got a little bit of flexibility. It doesn't have read ahead, so it's fine. Honestly, if it had read ahead, it'd be pretty strong, because just being able to draw cards for each tapped creature an opponent controls is pretty good. Soothing of Smeagol, 2 mana, return target non-token creature to his owner's hand. The ring tempts you. It's like an unsummon, but kind of whatever. Why is it non-token? Who knows? Stern Scolding, counter target creature spell with power or toughness 2 or less. That's not terrible. That'll take care of things like I'm mind blanking. The fucking white guy. The golem, not the golem, the artifact. You have to pay mana to not let them draw. That guy. Stuff like that. Mana dorks. I can see this being pretty useful. It's a little dead late game, but overall. Yeah, I have to imagine Amass was pretty good. Why can't I remember this dude's name? Whatever, it's fine. Storm of Sauron, 6 mana enchantment, ward 3. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. You may choose new targets for the copy. Second spell each turn, copy it. So it's one of those big bomb enchantments where you're like really hoping to pop off with it. Only specifically a second spell, so like you're paying 6 mana. It's got a little bit of protection. It can't copy. Oh, hold on. Except the copy isn't legendary. Okay, so it is spell. Okay, so it could be creature as well. And enchantment. Huh. You know what? This got a little better. I was thinking it had to be like a instant or sorcery, but it does specifically say spell. So it can copy creatures. It can copy, I guess, your commander. Like you can play your commander as your second spell and get 2 of your commanders. A little bit of more of a win more card, but yeah, very interesting. And they're not commanders, or they're not legendaries rather. So yeah, I mean I feel like it's a little bit of a more win more card. Like when you play Thousand Year Storm, like you're probably gonna win that turn. This requires like multiple turns, unless there's like I don't know your second spell. You could like take like an extra turn. This would probably be pretty good in extra turn decks where you're like every 1 turn is 2 turns or 2 extra turns. That would be pretty decent. I can see there being a way to break it, but again, I think it seems a little bit more of a win more card. Not a terrible card though. 6 mana, it's expensive, but it's one of those bomb cards. Nailed it. Alright, so surrounded by orcs, 4 mana, amass orcs 3, then target player mills 3 cards, where X is the amassed army's power. I don't know. I mean, I could see this in limited being decent, maybe, but I would not play it in Commander. Treason of Isengard. 3 mana for a sorcery. Put up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. Amass Orcs 2. If this was an instant, it'd be playable in Commander. Otherwise, I would never play it. The Watcher in the Water looks pretty cool. 5 mana for a 9/9. Excellent. When it enters the battlefield, it gets tapped with 9 stun counters on it. If a permanent with a stun counter would become untapped, remove 1 from it instead. Yeah, okay, so that's exactly what stun counters do. Whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, create a 1/1 tentacle. Pretty good. Whenever tentacle you control dies, untap up to 1 target Kraken and put a stun counter on up to 1 target non-land permanent. Okay. That seems interesting. I mean, you could definitely build around the Kraken deck using this guy and just put a bunch of stun counters on stuff, but I don't know if there's enough support for that. I mean, this could be your commander, I suppose, but it'd be kind of lackluster. Mono blue. Willowwind. Excuse me. 5 mana for a 4/3 or 3/4 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Meh. Alright, now we're into the blocks. Bitter Downfall. 4 mana. It costs 3 less to cast if it targets a creature that was dealt damage this turn. Destroy target creature's controller loses 2 life. Okay, so this isn't the worst. I was talking earlier about the removal. I don't like the stipulations on removal. It's a little bit easier to deal damage to a creature. It is then I don't know. It's only 1 black. It's a little bit better because it's still at least. If it's only 1 black and does the thing, it's not bad. If you're paying 4 mana, not as great, but it's a little bit more flexible than the previous spells where like they had to be blocked by a legendary creature in order to even be used at all. At least this can be cast for its full cost and destroy a creature. So it's not horrible. It's an okay kill spell, but there are so many kill spells in black already that are just better. Maybe if you're playing like a black-red where you have like a ton of different ways to ping, it would probably be better. Alright, the Black Death. No, the Black Breath. 3 mana, sorcery. Creatures your opponent's control get -1/-1 until end of turn, and the ring tempts you. Not great. Call of the Ring. 2 mana, enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. Whenever you choose a creature as a ring bearer, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. So, I mean, I guess if you're just constantly... okay, never mind. At the beginning of your upkeep, you're constantly changing who your ring bearer is. Because if you do that, you can pay 2 life and draw a card. I mean, I guess it it gives you the ability to keep changing who your ring bearer is. Is that correct? So as the ring tempts you, you get an emblem with the ring. Your emblem gains its next ability, and you choose a creature to become. Okay, yeah. So basically, every turn you get to choose who your ring bearer is at the beginning of your upkeep. You get to draw you get to draw a card and pay 2 life. It's okay. Maybe if you're playing around the theme of like the tempting thing, then you're getting a ton more value because you're getting to do it every turn. It's fine. Surith Ungol Patrol. 5 mana for a 4/5. Sacrifice another creature, draw a card, then create a food. It's too expensive. Claim the Precious. 3 mana, 1 color, or 3 mana with it's a double black instant. Oh no, sorcery. Destroy target creature. The ring tempts you. I'd rather it be instant speed. It's okay, I guess. It's a bit expensive. I think there's just tons of things that do it better. But again, if you're doing a tempt theme, then maybe it's worth it. Dunlin Krabin. Well, no, it says it right here. It says, as the ring tempts you, you get an emblem named the ring if you don't already have one. Then your emblem gains its next ability, and you choose a creature you control to become or remain your ring bearer. So you can swap it each time. Because one of the rulings that it says is that it's like you must choose a creature, or you must, what was the wording? Each time the ring tempts you, you must choose a creature if you control one. So you can choose another creature each turn. You can keep bouncing around and keep choosing like passing the ring around. Unless, of course, maybe it's broken on Arena or something if it doesn't work that way. But as far as the ruling, as far as the wording states, I don't know. That's how it seems the way that works. Otherwise, it gets kind of bad. Like if you're stuck with whoever you pick as your ring bearer and you can't change it each time you tempt, then I don't know. It doesn't seem very good at all. 3 mana for a 1/1 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, amass 2 orcs. So you're paying 3 mana and getting a 1/1 flyer and a 2/2 token. That's decent. Decent for a common. Pretty strong and limited, I'm sure. Easterling Vanguard. 2 mana for a 2/1. When it dies, amass 1. These kind of effects for like when they die, you get like another token in its place are pretty decent for a lot of different strategies. So this could be decent. Golem, Patient Plotter, 2 mana, 3/1. When he leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Then you can sacrifice a creature, return Golem from your graveyard to your hand, activate only as a sorcery. Honestly, it'd have to return to the battlefield and not as a sorcery to be actually playable. Unfortunate. I mean, there's just better cards in the past that just, I don't know. Maybe the ring tempts you is a strong enough effect where like being able to constantly do that over and over, like pay 3 mana and then basically like max out your ring right away is probably too strong. I don't know. Golem's Bite. 1 black. Target creature gets -2/-2 on turn of turn. And then you can also exile it from your graveyard to tempt you as a sorcery. Don't like that. I hate this line. This line as a sorcery is so stupid. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Gorbag of Morgul. 2 mana for a 2/2. Whenever a goblin or an orc you control deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. Whenever you do, choose 1, draw a card, create a treasure. Huh. It's like a annoying sack outlet. It's not terrible. Both of the effects are strong. Draw a card, create a treasure in black. Goblins and orcs. I don't know if there's like an orc theme you can do. I don't know. When Gothmog Morgul Lieutenant enters the battlefield, amass 1 orcs. Creature tokens you control have death touch. I like that it's not just orcs. If this just said orcs, orcs you control have death touch, would be annoying. But creature tokens you control have death touch is better. Still not great. Grima Wormtongue. 3 mana for a 1/4. Your opponents can't gain life. That's a pretty strong effect. Sacrifice another creature. Target player loses 1 life. If the sacrificed creature was a legendary, amass orcs 2. I mean, there are some cards you can take advantage with this, but like, is amassing orcs 2 like really worth it? There's no mana cost. I like that. I like that there's no mana cost. It's a fairly cheap creature overall. But like Squee the Immortal, if I'm not mistaken, he's legendary. Squee the Immortal. He's the one where you can keep playing him from exile or graveyard. Yeah. So I guess for 3 mana each turn, you can amass Orcs 2 and ping somebody for 1. I don't know. Not very good. I mean, maybe if you combine it with a bunch of enters the battlefield and leaves the battlefield triggers, maybe it's a decent little thing, but yeah. Granda the Gatebreaker, 4 mana for a 5/5. Vehicle, okay. I wasn't expecting vehicles, to be completely honest, in this set. As long as it's your turn, you take and you control an army. Granda the Gatebreaker is an artifact creature. Okay, so there's like 2 different ways to make it a creature. You either crew it, or you have an army to pilot it. That's kind of flavorful. I like that. It's not really playable, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. 4 mana for a 5/5 Trampler. Just kind of boring. It's like old school, okay. Okay, Haunt of the Dead Marshes. 1 mana, 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1. Return it from the graveyard to the battlefield, tapped. Activate only if you control a legendary creature. Now that is what I like. I thought I was going to say activate only as a sorcery, but I like the legendary theme that they got going on. You can only like do something if it's legendary. It's basically legendary instants or legendary spells, where like you can only cast it if you have legendaries. So this is okay. It's not great, but I like the effect. I like the activate only if you have a legendary. It's a little expensive. It's kind of like reassembling skeletons, but like more expensive. But it at least has an effect that comes into the battlefield. So, it is also tapped. Isildur's Fateful Strike, 4 mana, legendary instant. You may cast a legendary instant only if you control a legendary creature or a planeswalker. Destroy target creature. If its controller has more than 4 cards in hand, they exile cards from their hand equal to the difference. That's an interesting kill spell. That right there is not bad. I don't dislike that at all. I would use that in my current deck, honestly. Although, it is a discard deck, so like the odds of them having more than 4 cards in hand are probably low. I mean, this would be a decent way to, like, if they, like, Sphinx's Revelation for 10 or whatever, I could, like, not in response, I could wait until they draw, then, like, cast this on one of their creatures when they pass a turn, and then they discard a bunch of cards, and I have a bunch of effects that make them do something. I mean, this is, you know, I think this is decent. It's a little expensive, but the effect is decent enough. I mean, if you're making them discard 2, 3, or 4 cards for this price, it is instant. I like that. Yeah, this is a solid card, I think, for Commander. Lash of the Balrog, 1 mana as an additional cost to cast a spell. Sacrifice a creature or pay 4. Destroy target creature. Sure, that's a great uncommon. Honestly, that's fantastic. A lot of times you're never going to pay the 4 colorless. You're just going to sack a creature. But you'll play spells like this when you want a sack outlet in the deck. It is only a one-time sack outlet, but sometimes that's all you need. And like if you play like, I don't know, the Sad Robot. Sacrifice him, destroy a creature, you go get your land, you draw the card. You know, stuff like that. Creatures that want to die. You play this in a deck like that. It's super cheap. One mana. As an instant would be better. I think there are effects like this as an instant speed. Like Village Rites, sacrifice a creature, you draw 2 cards. That's better. The fact that this is sorcery speed does kind of make it a little shit, but, you know. They can't all be winners. Loblia Sackville Baggins. 3 mana for a 2/3 Flash Menace. When it enters the battlefield, exile a target creature card from an opponent's graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Then, create X treasure tokens where X was the exile card's power. Ooh. I like that. I like that a lot. Interestingly enough, I have to double check the ruling on that, but I think if your commander dies, if it hits the graveyard, I know that one of the rulings is that you can put it into the command zone, but I'm not sure if it's a replacement effect. MTG commander dies rule. The commander goes to the graveyard, then before either player would receive priority and triggers are placed on the stack, the owner may choose to put it into the command zone. So the opponent can choose to do it before you get a chance to respond. Damn. It would be cool. Well, hold on, does it matter? When it enters about exile target creature card from an opponent's graveyard that was put there. Yeah, so it doesn't work. because you won't have a chance to target it, unfortunately. So it does hit the graveyard, which I knew, but it's one of those things where you don't have a response window, which it makes sense. But that would be really, really cool either way. But I still think this card's insane. Not insane. I think it's valuable. It's sort of, it's kind of on the power level to me, especially in a deck that wants treasures. Like if you're playing like Marionette Master or what is it? Marionette? Is it Marionette Master? Something Marionette. Where like you have like treasure tokens that whenever you sacrifice a treasure or an artifact, like you could ping. When you're getting this many treasures, this reminds me of what was this? There's a few decks that do this, but there was a specific card that I liked. It was like sacrifice a creature and you gain treasures equal to its power or something like that. This having flash is removal for a thing that's good. The only stipulation that does suck is that it has to be put in the battlefield that turn. I will say that that's a limiter. If it was just flash remove a creature and you get treasures equal to its power, that would be wild. But the fact that it has the stipulation that it has to be from your opponent's graveyard, which is also, you can mill them, which is pretty decent. But I do think this is pretty damn good. I like it. March from the Black Gate, 2 mana enchantment. When March from the Black Gate enters the battlefield, and whenever an army you control attacks, amass Orcs 1. That's pretty strong for an uncommon. So it either grows the army or replaces itself. An army. Are there other armies other than orcs? Is there only orc armies, or are there other armies? MTG army. Okay, so there are zombie army. Okay, so there's orc and zombie. So there's 2 different types, orc and zombie. Okay. So if you're doing like an amass theme, that could be decent. I don't know if there is many amass theme commanders or whatnot, but sure. It's cheap enough to where it does something when it first enters, and then it will grow. It'll keep growing them. I remember there was like a zombie version of this basically, but I think it was slightly better. I think it like maybe drew you a card or something like that. Mirkwood Bats, 4 mana. That sounds like a reprint. Is this a reprint? No. Are there any reprints in this set besides the box toppers? Mirkwood Bats. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. Ooh. That's not bad at all. That's kind of like a Marionette Master. It's like a cheaper Marionette Master. Each opponent loses a life every time you create or sacrifice a token. That's powerful. It's a very powerful common. Honestly, that's the best common so far of the set. Very strong. Like, it's one of those things where on its own, it's whatever. But in a deck that like is focused around creating food and creating treasure tokens, this or blood, you could do it also with the bloods. Yeah, this could be quite strong, especially if you have what's his name? The guy that creates, every time you create 1, you create all 3 of the food, the treasure, and the clues. He's an artifact, 3-mana artifact. That guy with Mirkwood Bats, actually insane. Pretty good. Yeah, I like this guy. That's a great common. Mordor Muster, 2 mana for sorcery. You draw a card and you lose a life. Amass Orcs. That's okay. If it was draw 2, it'd be better, but you're getting a body as well. It's okay. Mordor Trebuchet, 3 mana for a 1/4 defender. Whenever you attack with 1 or more goblins and/or orcs, create a 2/1 colorless construct artifact creature token with flying named Ballistic Boulder that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice that token at the end of combat. I want to see what this token looks like. Ballistic Boulder. Don't they normally have the tokens on the page of the card? Ah, here it is. I love it. I knew it. I knew there had to be like a goblin or something strapped to the rock. That's what I was hoping for. They did not disappoint. I guess it's in the picture, like over here, but it's pretty small. But Ballistic Boulder token. Whenever you attack with 1 or more goblins and/or orcs, create a 2/1 construct that's flying and attacking. And then they die because they're, goblins. That's decent. It's okay. Oh, it's defender. Well, you're not gonna attack with it. I don't think this is actually playable, but in limited, it's probably great. 2/1 flyer is pretty solid. Morgul Knife Wound, 2 mana. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +3, -0, and has at the beginning of your upkeep exile this creature unless you pay 2 life. Maybe it's okay in limited. In commander, meh. You'd rather just kill it for 2 mana. Especially when you have 40 life, you can just keep paying if you really need to. Nasty End, 2 mana instant has additional cost to cast a spell. Sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. If the sacrificed creature was a legendary, draw 3 cards. Ooh, that's not bad at all. I like that. I mean, when you're playing things like Junji and like creatures that you want to die that have like on death triggers, being able to sacrifice it, having a sack outlet at instant speed, you sacrifice it. Obviously legendary, you draw 3 cards for 2 mana. That's good value. I like that. Nasty End is also a very strong card. I like it. Nazgul, 3 mana, 1/2 Death Toucher. When it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Sure. Whenever the ring tempts you, put a 1/1 counter on each Wraith you control. Excellent. A deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul. I like that. I mean, this is one of the ways to get around the whole commander thing where you can only have singleton. I will say, it has been a while since I've played a format where you can have like many copies of the card in a deck, and I kind of miss that a little bit. I mean, I used to play standard quite a lot back in the day, so I don't know. Maybe I'll venture into the standard. Maybe a little bit of arena play every now and then. I typically do that like once a year. I'll play a little bit of standard like once a year. All right, Oath of the Grey Host, 4 mana. You and target opponent each create a food token. I don't like that. Each opponent loses 3 life. Create a treasure token. That's better. Create 3 tapped 1/1 creatures with flying. Meh. Not great. I don't like giving opponents food. I mean, yeah, they're losing the 3 life, but 4 mana. Yeah, wait 3 turns. Doesn't have read ahead. Nah. 1 ring to rule them all, 4 mana. The ring tempts you, and then each player mills cards equal to your ring bearer's power. That could be fine. Destroy all non-legendary creatures. Excellent. Board wipe. Great. Each opponent. Now, I say great, but like the problem with this is that because you can't read ahead, like they're gonna know ahead of time. They have an entire turn to stop this, and I don't really like that. They're not gonna play anything on their turn, which I guess is kind of a time walk. Like, if they're not going to be able to play a creature because you know you're going to board wipe, they may not be able to do what they want to do. Maybe they do a less optimal play. So it definitely changes the board state, and it makes decisions a little wonky. And the last one is each opponent loses 1 life for each creature card in that player's graveyard. That could be decent. It's okay. I mean, it kind of fuels the graveyard with a bunch of dead things on its phase 2. So very synergistic. It's okay. Orcish Bowmasters, 2 mana, 1/1, flash. I like that. When it enters the battlefield, and whenever an opponent draws a card except for the first one, they draw each of their turns, during their draw step, rather. Orc Bowmaster deals 1 damage to any target, then amass 1 orcs. Actually, funny enough, I did come across this card when I was building my current Ob Nixilis 2-headed giant deck, because it's all about punishing, it's all about discards and also punishing when they draw cards a little bit. So this I liked because each card they draw, like just a bunch of pings, and then also amass orcs, and it's also cheap, but we can't play any cards from the set. So I did come across this card. This card's okay. It's not bad. In the right deck, it could actually be pretty strong. I like that it has flash. It's cheap. Yeah. Orcish Medicine, 2 mana, instant. Target creature gains your choice of lifelink or indestructible, and amass 1 orcs. It's an okay common. Indestructible and instant speed is always solid, especially in black. That's not bad at all. The lifelink could be relevant as well. And then amass 1 orcs, you get a body. Instant speed. It's flexible. I like it. Sam's Desperate Rescue, 1 black sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and then the ring tempts you. So that's not terrible. Eternal Witness-ish effect at a sorcery speed for only 1 black mana, so it's fairly cheap. You get a ring tempts you trigger as well, which is also pretty solid. Another good common. Sauron the Necromancer, 5 mana for a 4/4 menace. Whenever Sauron the Necromancer attacks, exile target creature card from your graveyard. Hey, Coach, welcome, dude. Happy pre-release weekend. Hope you're having a wonderful day and hope you're enjoying the set. So far, I'm actually surprised on how many decent commons and commons there are. There are a few very playable cards that I would play in my decks that are common and are common. So far, there hasn't been anything that's like busted. No, there's no spell so far that's been busted. But there are some decent cards so far. Okay, so when he enters the battlefield... No, I'm sorry. When he attacks, exile target creature card from your graveyard. Create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of the card, except it's a 3/3 Wraith with Menace. At the beginning of your next end step, exile the token unless Sauron is your ring bearer. This is fun. It's a reanimator on a stick. He's got Menace, and he's a decent body. 5 mana for a 4/4. Pretty good. Tapped and attacking. Ooh, I like this card. This card is strong. It's a rare, too. Not even a mythic. Sauron the Necromancer. Pretty solid. I would give this a pretty good rating. I would play this. You do have to exile it, but you create a token of it, and it's tapped and attacking. Who cares if it's a 3/3? It has Menace. Typically, see, tapped and attacking, it does prevent, like, on-attack triggers, but it will still hit on-hit triggers. It'll also get on enter the battlefield triggers as well. I like to do like stuff like this. Like if you do like a mono black, maybe do like a Sauron the Necromancer mono black with like Grey Merchant of Asphodel, and like sack it and play it, sack it, and then attack, bring it back. Pretty good. Yeah. So you get down to the battlefield trigger, which is nice. Shadow of the Enemy, 6 mana. Oh, sorcery. It's a legendary, or I'm sorry, mythic instant. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You may cast spells from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and mana of any type that can be spent to cast them. Huh. It's not terrible. It's a lot of mana, but like it's not horrible. It does nothing when you first do it, but it does take care of all, like, any kind of graveyard synergy for creatures for that player. If it was exile all graveyards and you can cast spells from among them, that would be pretty wild. But exile all creatures from target player's graveyard, you can choose yourself, I guess. You know what? You can choose yourself. That's not terrible. I don't know. I think this is niche, but it definitely will see play. I think there's certain strategies want this for sure. But, like, yeah. I think it's niche, but I think it's playable. Shalab's Ambush. 1 black. Target creature gets +1/+2 and gains death touch until end turn. Create a food token. That's a lot for 1 black. I could probably see this seeing play in Limited for sure. Maybe in a food token-centric deck. I know that food is a big theme of this set, so I could see this being a thing. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know any food. I've never built a food deck, to be honest. Seems like it could be fun. Snarling Warg. I think one of the precons is a food-centric deck, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. All right, Snarling Warg. 4 mana for a 3/4 menace. As long as you control a goblin or an orc, it gets 1/0. So it makes a 4/4 for 4. Nah. The Torment of Gollum, 4 mana. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. They discard it. Amass Orcs 2. Too expensive. Troll of Khazad-dûm, 6 mana for 6/5. It can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. Swamp Cycling. Yeah, probably a bomb in Limited, but nothing amazing in Commander. Uruk-hai Berserker, 3 mana for 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Voracious Fellbeast. 6 mana, 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Create a food token for each creature sacrificed this way. You'll create 3 food most likely, and then you'll have a 4/4 fly for 6. Again, if the food that is a good name actually. Second Breakfast, I like it. I mean, I don't know. In a food-centric deck, maybe this could be a thing. But I think it's too expensive, realistically. If it was like destroy three things, you get a food. Like if you got to pick what they sacrificed, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That would be insane. It is an uncommon. I guess you can't expect much. It's an okay uncommon. Witch King of Angmar. Which king? I don't know. Which king? It's a mythic. Excellent. It's going to be insane, right? 5 mana for a 5/3 flyer. All right. Whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt combat damage to you this turn. The ring tempts you. Discard a card. It gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. Discard outlets that don't have a cost are deceptively strong, especially when it is giving the thing indestructibility. That I mean, sometimes you just want a free discard outlet to get like bombs into the graveyard to reanimate them, and this on its own without the discard outlet is just kind of okay. With the discard outlet, you'll definitely see some play in those decks that rely on discard outlets, especially free ones. I like that. There's no sorcery bullshit. There's no one time per activate only once each turn. One or more creatures deal combat damage to you. Each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt combat damage to you this turn. So, I guess in Two-Headed Giant this is interesting because like you have the chance of getting two opponents. Like, why does it say each opponent? Whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, how are more than one opponent attacking you in a turn? Each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt combat damage to you this turn. It has to be only for Two-Headed Giant. It's the only thing I can think of. Alright, Battle Scarred Goblin. 2 mana for 2/2. Whenever it becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to each creature blocking it. Book of Marzabul. Marzabul? Mass 1 Orcs for 3 mana. It's a saga. Amass. Creatures you control get 1/1 Menace. Maybe in limited it could be okay. Breaking of the Fellowship. 2 mana. Target creature an opponent controls deals damage equal to its power to another target creature that player controls. The ring tempts you. Sorcery speed makes it a little annoying, but it's not horrible. Like I said, if you're building around the ring tempting, being able to deal damage equal to its power to another target creature, you can it's kind of a kill spell. Now, granted, is there synergy with this? So your Ring Bearer becomes legendary and can't be blocked by creatures. That doesn't do anything. So that doesn't do anything. So no, it does not. I was thinking like if this had synergy where like whenever your Ring Bearer deals like direct damage to a creature or something, then more happened, then this card would be more playable. But I think it's fine. It's okay. It's kind of removal. Sorcery speed sucks a little bit, but it's not horrible. It's cheap. Cast into Fire. 2 mana, instant, choose 1. Cast into the Fire does 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures or exile an artifact. It's okay. Display of Power. 2 mana, 1 colorless, instant. This spell can't be copied. Copy any number of target instant and or sorcery spells. You may choose new targets for the copies. Huh. That's pretty strong. It's kind of a win more card. But like, if you like Grape Shot with like a storm count of like 15, they all go on the stack, then you Display of Power. Whoa. I don't know, Grape Shot. I don't know why Grape Shot's the thing, because if you're Grape Shot, you're probably going to win without this, but I could see this being decent. Aramir, Marshal of Rohan. 4 mana for a 4/4 haster. Whenever one or more other attacking legendary creatures you control die, untap all creatures you control, and you get an additional combat phase, and this only triggers once each turn. Huh. Whenever one or more attacking legendary creatures you control die, you get an extra phase. It's okay. Aramir of the Riddle Mark. 5 mana for a 5/4 haste. When it enters the battlefield, or no, when it attacks, if you control a creature with the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier token. That's subpar. Erebor Flamesmith. 2 mana for a 2/1. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Aramir Flamesmith deals 1 damage to each opponent. Seems kind of like a Thermometal Alchemist type deal. Erkenbrand, Lord of Westfold. 4 mana for a 4/4. When it or another human enters the battlefield under control, creature you control get +1/+0. That could be a decent finisher if you're like a token creator deck. Get this out there and make a bunch of tokens. They all your stuff gets strong and swing in for big. Decent. Decent uncommon. Fall of Care Andros. 3 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, amass Orcs X, where X is the excess damage. Non-combat damage, okay. And then you can pay 8 mana and deal 7 damage to target creature. That's a lot of mana. Is that what is that? That's a rare? Oof. I mean, it could be good. I mean, wait, hold on. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, so if you Blasphemous Act with this on the field, you're getting a monstrous orc. That orc is going to be huge. There's also another one called Star. What is it called? The Star Apocalypse or the Star. It's the one where it does like 20 damage to a creature and it destroys a land or something like that. Stuff like that would be. This would go in that deck for sure because there's a deck around doing all of that, all of those kind of things. There's like there's a creature that any excess damage goes directly to the player or something like that as well. So kind of like trample for non-combat damage, which is interesting. So that'll definitely go in those decks for sure. Fear Fire Foes. X and colorless and X with red. Damage can't be prevented this turn. It deals X damage to target creature and 1 damage to each other creature with the same controller. Meh. It's okay. Well, hold on. Fire. Yeah, it's kind of whatever. Fire Inscription. Whenever it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Fire Inscription deals 2 damage to each opponent. That would be really good in my current deck right now with the Ob Nixilis deck. I basically was going to run Gutter Snipe for that, but this is just a better Gutter Snipe because it's not a creature and it's less, it's more difficult to get rid of. Alright, Fire of Orthanc, 4 mana sorcery, destroy target artifact or land. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. It's a common, what do you expect? It's alright. Probably not playable though. Foray of Orcs, 4 mana, amass Orcs 2. When you do, Foray of Orcs deals X damage to target creature and opponent controls, where X is the amassed army's power. Okay. So if you got a massive orc, you can burn something. Meh. I mean, I guess it combos with this Fall of Care Andros, but still kind of meh. Gimli, counter of kills, 4 mana for a 4/3 trampler. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, he does 1 damage to that creature's controller. Huh, a red version of like the black creatures that are like aristocratish. Interesting. 4 mana though. It's expensive. Uncommon, yeah. Meh. Gimli's Axe, 3 mana, equipped creature gets +3. Oh. As long as his equipped creature is a legendary, it has menace. Meh. Common. Not great. Target creature gets +3/+2 until end of turn. If it isn't, or if it's legendary, it also gains trample. I'm not a real big fan of pump spells like this. They're situational. They're very limited. Trample at instant speed could be a winning move at some point for Commander, but it's like pretty rare. Glowing Dwarf Emissary, 3 mana for a 3/3. Whenever you cast a historic spell, create a treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. That's unfortunate. Sacrifice a treasure, goad target creature. It's okay. I don't like the triggers once each turn, but it's pretty cheap. 3 mana for a 3/3, and then this sacrifice a treasure, goad a creature. In like a goad-centric deck where you're wanting goad creatures, this could be a decent guy. Getting a treasure every turn isn't terrible. I think they're being cautious on stuff like this because if you don't limit this, I understand. If you don't limit this stuff, it can be pretty busted. Like Birdie or Burgie. I think it's Burgie. And every time you cast a spell, you just get a red mana. Stuff like that gets a little busted when it's not limited like that. So I get it. They're trying to be cautious. 2 mana for a 1/1 Goblin Fire Leaper. So you can Fire Breathe for way too much mana, and then when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. Meh. Grishnak Brash Interrogator. Instigator? Yeah, Instigator. 3 mana for a 1/1 when it enters the battlefield, amass Orcs 2. Okay, so 3 mana for a 3/3 in total power. When you do until end of turn, gain control of target non-legendary creature and opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. Untap the creature, gains haste. That's okay. If you're playing like a black-red deck, or if you have like a way to sack it so they don't get it back, it could be pseudo removal. You get two bodies. I could see it being okay. It's not bad. Haradrim Spearmaster. 3 mana for a 2/3. Reach at the beginning of combat on your turn. Another creature you control gets 1/0. Meh. Boring. Hugh the Antwood. 5 mana sorcery. Sacrifice any number of lands. Reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of lands sacrificed this way. Choose any number of artifacts and or land cards revealed this way. Put all non-land cards chosen this way onto the battlefield. Then put all land cards chosen this way onto the battlefield. Tapped. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Why tapped? You're going pretty balls deep to cast this spell. Like, why tapped? I mean, I know there are situations to where you can like set this up and like do some really degenerate things, but like, I would never play this spell unless I'm missing something. I mean, you're like going pretty deep. If you like sack all your lands and then this gets countered, you just lose the game. So it's very risky. I don't know. I don't like it. Improvised Club. 2 mana, instant as additional cast. You have to sacrifice an artifact or a creature, and it deals 4 damage to any target. It's like a bad lightning bolt. Moria Marauder. 2 mana, 1/1 double strike. Whenever a goblin or orc you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library, you may play that card this turn. That's not terrible. Goblin decks like that effect. It's not bad. It's whenever a goblin or orc, so any of them. So yeah, that could be decent. Token decks, go wides. I mean, you may exile too many cards, but you may also just exile the combo and just win, because there are some combos in goblin decks. Oliphant. 6 mana, 6/4 Trampler. Whenever it attacks, another target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains trample. Mountain cycling. Meh. Olag High Crusher. 4 mana for a 4/4. Can't block unless you control another orc. Meh. Quarrel's End. 3 mana. As you cast it, discard a card. Draw 2 cards. Create 2 humans. That's okay. Obviously, there are cheaper versions of this card, but creating 2 human tokens is not bad. I'm sorry, create 1. Draw 2 cards. Create one token. Not as good. If it was draw 2 cards, create 2 humans, that's pretty good. I'm looking at the next card, I guess. Create 2 white 1/1 soldiers. Humans you control gain haste. Yeah, Quarrel's End is okay. Rally of the Hornburg is it's kind of like a goblin. What is that card? Empty the Warrens, but like there's like another card that's like that for goblins. So it's just kind of just okay. The haste is nice. Ranger's Firebrand. It deals 2 damage to any target the ring attempts you. Man, if this was instant speed, it'd be fantastic. Sorcerer Speed's okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's a 1 mana, so it makes it fine. It does 2 different things. If you care about the ring tempting, and even if you don't, to be quite frank, dealing 2 damage and just getting the ring attempts trigger is still decent in the right deck. So, it's a solid uncommon. Relentless Raharim. 4 mana for 4/3. When it enters the battlefield, ring tempts you. Boring. Rising of the Day. 3 mana. Creatures you control have haste as an enchantment. Legendary creatures get +1/+0. A little expensive. 2 mana would have been a better price for this. 3 mana. It's not terrible. If it's fine. If it was all creatures have haste and all creatures get +1/+0 at 3, probably fine. But only legendaries getting the plus is a little meh. Raharim Lancer. 1 mana for a 1/1 menace. When it dies, the ring tempts you. It's okay. Not great. Maybe in a night deck, maybe there's things you can combo with that, with like enters the battlefield for knights. Maybe you draw cards when you cast knights. I don't know. Never played a night deck. Rush the Room. Instant. Target creature gets 1/0 for strike. If it's a goblin, it also gains haste. I don't really like these kind of cards. Maybe in like standard or limited they're better, but not for commander. Smite the Deathless. 2 mana instant. Smite the Deathless deals 3 damage to target creature. That creature loses indestructible until end of turn. If that creature would die this turn, exile it. That's not horrible. That's flexible. That's not bad. Sure. It's okay. It's a solid common. Spiteful Banditry. 2 mana, X, enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to each creature. Okay. It's kind of a Meat Hook Massacre, because I see there's more effects to it. Whenever one or more creatures your opponents control die, you create a treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Oh, why is that? I mean, I get it. Okay. If that... I was going to say, this is insane. But no. Yeah, it's... once each turn. Ugh. It was about to be like a $30, $40 mythic if that line was removed. Man, that would have been fantastic. It's still not bad though. Yeah, I don't hate it. It's flexible. I like it. Swarming of Moria. 3 mana, create a treasure token, amass orcs. Yeah, if you're doing an amass thing, you're making treasures. You can probably combo with that. There and back again. 5 mana, Saga. Up to 1 target creature can't block for as long as you control there and back again. The ring attempts you. I keep saying attempts. The ring attempts you. The ring tempts you. Search your library for a mountain card, put it in a battlefield, then shuffle. That's not bad. It's not basic. It's just any mountain. You're paying 5 mana though, so this last one better be good. Create Smaug, a legendary 6/6 red dragon creature with haste. And when this creature dies, create 14 treasures. What? Okay. Wait, what? When this creature dies, create 14 treasure tokens. Is that a misprint? No, there it is. There it is again. 14. 14. And there it is also in this picture. 14. Huh. I mean, it's a saga and it has to go through 3 turns, but holy crap. That's a spicy meatball right there. That's not bad. Huh. That's, yeah, that's pretty solid. All right. That's a good card. That's a rare. All right. War Beast of Gorgoroth. 5 mana for a 5/4. Whenever War Beast of Gorgoroth or another creature you control, a power 4 critter dies, amass 2. I don't know. It's kind of whatever. Into the greens. There's going to be good ones, right? Bag and Porter. 4 mana for a 4/4. Whenever he attacks, it gets XX until end of turn, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Meh. It's kind of whatever common. Bombadil's Song. 2 mana. Target creature you control gets 1/0 and hexproof, and then the ring tempts you. That's not bad. Hexproof and instant speed. 1/1. The ring tempts you. That's solid. Brandywine Farmer. 3 mana for a 1/1. When it enters or leaves, create a food token. It's okay. Celery the Wise. 4 mana for a 3/3. And whenever it attacks with 1 or more elves, scry 1. When you scry, Celery the Wise gets 1/1 until end of turn for each card looked at while scrying this way. Meh. Pretty boring. Although there is that new elf that landfall. I don't know if it's scry. I think it's look at. If it was scry, it'd be pretty good. But I think it's just look at, so not as good. But yeah. It's okay. I don't know how often green scries. Chance Met Elves. 3 mana for a 3/2. Whenever you scry, put a 1/1 counter on Chance Met Elves. This ability only triggers once a turn. Lame. Delighted Halfling. I did see this one as well. This one's pretty good. I like this. It's just 1 mana, 1/2, and it just taps for colorless. Or taps for any color if it's a legendary spell, and it can't be countered. I really like Delighted Elf. This has to be like, what, $5 or $10 rare? Yeah, there we go. 7 to 11. Look at that value. I like it. Very good card. Dundane Rangers. 4 mana for a 4/4. Landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control. If you don't control a ring bearer, the ring tempts you. Okay. I don't like that. Wait, what? If you don't control a ring bearer, the ring tempts you. That's bad. Why would they put that on as a landfall ability and then as a 4/4 or a 4 mana cost increase? Because like the moment you landfall the first time, no longer landfall does nothing anymore until you get rid of that creature. I don't like that at all. This card's horrible. Am I missing something? Because like the moment you have a ring bearer, just nothing happens. That's it. What a dead card. Anyways, Alvin Chorus, 4 mana, enchantment. You may look at the top of your library card at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library, and creatures you control have add 1 mana of any color. For 4 mana, it's a bit pricey. If this was like 2 mana, obviously it'd be very strong. 4 mana, I mean, maybe it's fine. In like especially in an elf deck where like all of your tokens now become mana dorks. Yeah, okay, 4 mana is probably fine. It's a pretty strong card. So, yeah, especially if you're playing like Concordat Crossroads where you like all your creatures have haste, you keep casting things from the top, you, like burn through your library. Yeah, okay. 4 mana is probably appropriate. Solid card. Elven Farsight. Okay, here we go. Green Scry. Interesting. Scry 3 as a sorcery for 1 green. Pretty good. Then you may reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, draw a card. That's solid. That's not bad at all. It's a good common. Enraged Hoohorn. 5 mana for a 4/5 that just tempts you when it enters the battlefield. Just boring. Entis Restoration. Alright. 3 mana. Sacrifice a land. It's like a Harrow. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them out of the battlefield. Tap, then shuffle. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, instead, search your library up to 3 basic land cards. Put them on the battlefield. Tap. That is very good. I like this. Instant speed. Very good. Yeah, this will be a staple for sure. You're very common in green going to have a creature with more than 4, and even if you don't, you're basically harrowing. You're still getting 2 basic lands. Like this is solid. I like this. Ent's Fury. I already see counters that could be decent. All right, 2 mana, sorcery. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature control. Then if its power, if its power is 4 or greater, then that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn and fights target creature you don't control. I like the fight stuff. The fight cards are pretty decent. This one's not great. There are better fight spells. Yeah, it's a common. You can't really expect much, I guess. Ooh, here we go. A Saga that's a rare and only 2 mana. I like this. Scry 2. Okay, that's okay. A lot of Scry in green now. That's very weird. Okay, so second chapter. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creature you control. It's fine. Until end of turn, target creature control gains. When this creature dies, draw 2 cards. Then that creature fights up to 1 other target creature. What? Until end of turn, target creature you control gains. When this creature dies, draw 2 cards. Then that creature fight. Oh, I see. Okay. The way I'm reading it in my head, it was like, when this creature dies, you draw 2 and fight something. I'm like, how the hell is it fighting something if it's dead? Okay, I get it. So it gives the thing. It gives the thing when it fights something, or it gives the thing when it dies, you draw 2, and then it fights something, and then it dies probably. Okay. I like this card. This card's solid. It takes 3 turns to get going, but in a deck that's like, maybe you don't have something going on, the Scry 2 is going to be pretty good. Maybe you're playing a Scry deck where you, like, whenever you Scry, something happens. You're dealing with counters. You get the 1/1 counters, and then you fight something. You draw 2 cards. It's okay. Fangorn Tree Shepherd, 7 mana, so it's a big girthy thing. Tree folk you control have vigilance. Whenever 1 or more tree folk you control attack, add twice that much forest. You don't lose unspent green mana as steps and phases end. Huh. It's so expensive that it makes it unplayable in my head, but like maybe tree folk decks. I know there is a Doran tree folk deck where like you sign your damage via your toughness. So this would be like basically a 10/10 for 7 if you're playing in a Doran Siege Tower or something or other, I think. But this would basically be a 10/10 that adds like a bunch of mana. But this isn't great. It's okay. Galadrim Bow, 3 mana. Flash, I like it. Equipment, excellent. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to a target creature. Untap that creature. It gets 1/0 and reach. It's not horrible. It's a common. 1/2 and reach. That could be a nice little trick. It's the better kind of trick. Something that constantly, like if this was a source or an instant speed card, like not an equipment, this would be like kind of shit. But because it's an equipment that you can like constantly use and give like other creatures reach, this is more, more valuable. It has flash, which is cool. Auto attaches to something, which is great, and it untaps that creature. Fantastic. Yeah, this is a much better trick. A battle trick. I like battle tricks when they're good. that's a solid common. Galadrim Guide, 4 mana, winners, scry 2, meh. Generous Ent, 6 mana, 5/7, Tree Folk, when enters the battlefield, create a food, has reach, 5/7, yeah, that's pretty shit. Gift of Strands, 4 mana, enchantment aura, flash, enchant creature, when it enters the battlefield, scry 2, enchanted creature gets +3/+3. I mean, when you compare this to, like, Bear Umbra, it's pretty shit. I mean, it does have Flash, I guess, and it has Scry, which has synergy with like the Scry decks that are apparently happening with green. Whenever you Scry, choose one on Glorfindel, Dauntless Escort, 3 mana for a 3/2. Whenever you Scry, you get to choose one until end of turn, and it gets 1/1. Must be blocked this turn if able. Can't be blocked by more than one creature each turn or each combat this turn. Ooh, so it's got a lore built in. That's kind of interesting. Big mythic. 8 mana. Last March of the Ents. Sorcery. This spell can't be countered. Excellent. Draw cards equal to the greatest toughness among creatures you control. Then put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. What? That's a solid card. Yeah, I can see that being pretty dirty. I mean, you drop out this 4/10, and then you play Last March of the Ents. Can't be countered. There's no way they kill that. What's up, Twiddler? Huh. Last March of the Ents is interesting. Because, I mean, you could very easily... Not combo with this, but you could very easily play, like, all the Haster dudes. Like, I never play these guys. The... Whatchamacallit? The Razor Pig and the other green guy that gives haste, that gives all your creatures +1/+1 for every creature you have. Whatever the hell. I can't... Dude, I'm horrible with card names today. I messed up my sleeping schedule. It's the only reason I'm live at like 11 a.m. in my time. So, yeah. Anyways, the finishers. You can do a lot of stuff with March of the Ents. I like that it can't be countered. It's expensive, but you're in green. You'll be fine. Legolas Master Archer, 3 mana for a 1/4 reacher. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Legolas Master Archer, put a 1/1 counter on him. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you don't control, Legolas deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 target creature. That is not bad at all, actually. He could ping some... He can do some damage. You could make a... You can make this around... I mean, I guess... I was gonna say, you can make a deck around him, but like then it like really relies on him not dying. Huh. Interesting, though. He's interesting. He's got potential. Long List of the Ents. 1 mana, what is happening? On 1 through 6... Note a creature type that hasn't been noted for Long List of the Ents. When you cast your next creature spell of that type this turn, that creature enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter. I don't like this card. I mean, okay, actually, you know what? In a specific deck that I can actually think of off the top of my head that actually this fits perfectly in is Volo's Guide to Monsters. Because it specifically wants to play like a bunch of different creature types. So that actually, and the 1/1 counters actually do matter because there's a few different ways to make your creatures tap for mana when they have a 1/1 counter on it. So like, funnily enough, this would actually go in that deck, I think. It's decent. It's interesting. Huh. That's like the only case I can think for this card. I mean, I guess it's just like 1 mana and you get like a 1/1 counter when you just keep choosing different things. It's a lot of upkeep though. 6 different, I don't know. It's just kind of... I think it's more annoying than it's worth. That's what I'm saying. Lothorian Lookout. 2 mana. When he enters the battlefield... Or no, when he attacks, scry 1. 1/3. Meh. Ooh, Many Partings. Search your library for a basic land card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Create a food. That's not bad. I could definitely see this being a thing where... it's pretty cheap. It's a decent common if you're making a food-centric. You go get a land, then you also get a food. Sure. It's okay. Good common. Or let's just say decent common. Meriadoc Brandybuck. 2 mana for a 2/2. Whenever 1 or more halflings you control attacks a player, create a food. Whenever 1 or more. You can attack different players and make a few food, but nothing crazy. Mirkwood Spider, 1 mana, 1/1, Death Touch. Whenever it attacks, target legendary creature you don't control gains Death Touch. Or legendary creature you do control. Don't control would be bad. When it dies, the ring attempts you. Mirror Guardian. When it dies, the ring attempts you. Nah, not great. Mushroom Watchdogs. 2 mana, 2/2. Sacrifice a food. You put a 1/1 counter on Mushroom Watchdogs. It gains vigilance till end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Why did that need that? I don't understand. I guess because it's a common. Has to be shit. Peregrine Took. 3 mana for a 2/3. If one or more tokens would be created on your control, those tokens plus an additional food token are created instead. Sacrifice 3 food, draw a card. That is a solid card. It's not insane, but with that one card... Why can't I remember what the damn card's called? It's the Golem that makes... whenever you create one, you get all of them. Academy Manufacturer, that's the one. So Academy Manufacturer with this, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of food and... Wait, hold on. When one or more. Yeah, it wouldn't keep going. Or would it? What's the wording on Academy Manufacturer? Academy Manufacturer. If you would create a treasure, clue, or food, instead create one of each. And then this says, if one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional food token are created instead. I think because the replacement effects they wouldn't combo off, but because this one says instead. I think if this didn't say instead, I think that would just be an unlimited. You would just have unlimited food and treasure and clues. But otherwise, I don't think it's unlimited. I think it's good. Interesting. But yeah, Academy Manufacturer is this upward trend? Are we seeing upward trend of monies? Because I think this set really makes it quite valuable. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, maybe it's been printed too many times to really gain any value. Interesting. Pippin's Bravery. 1 mana, instant. You may sacrifice a food. If you do, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Otherwise, it gets +2/+2. Meh. There's like other cards that are just better. You don't have to sacrifice food. Quick Beam Upstart and wait, Quick Beam Upstart End. 6 mana, 5/6. Whenever it enters the battlefield, whenever it or another Treefolk enters the battlefield, 2 creatures get 2/2 and gain trample 10 of turn. That's not bad. That's 4 power whenever it or another Treefolk enter. I mean, if you're playing like a Treefolk deck, like a tribal deck, I don't know how many Treefolks there are, but this could be one of them. It's not really that impactful. It's okay. Radagast the Brown. Funny story about Radagast. Radagast was my wizard's name. I didn't realize that Radagast was a wizard in Lord of the Rings. I just typed like famous gnome wizards, or maybe I just typed in wizard gnomes for Dungeons and Dragons name or something like that, and Radagast came up. I'm like, Radagast sounds cool, but apparently it's from Lord of the Rings. Radagast the Brown, 4 mana, 2/5, legendary avatar wizard. When it enters, whenever it or another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that creature's mana value. You may reveal a creature card that doesn't share a creature type with the creature you control from among those, and put it in your hand. Put the rest in the bottom in a random order. You may reveal a creature card that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control from among those cards. That's too complicated. I don't like it. Revive the Shire. 2 mana. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Create a food. So it's like an Eternal Witness on a sorcery. Alright. Although it says permanent card, so you can't get instants or sorcery, so it's not as good. The Ring Goes South. 4 mana. The ring tempts you. Then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X land cards, or X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Put those lands onto the battlefield tapped and the rest in the bottom of your library. That's not bad, because the ring tempts you. That means you're going to get 1, because when you make something your ring bearer, it becomes legendary. So 4 mana, you reveal top cards of your library until you reveal X lands. That's the benefit. This is a playable card for sure, because you're revealing cards from the top of your library until you reveal X lands. It's not like reveal X and then you hope to get some lands. This is guaranteed. As long as you have 1 legendary, you're getting 1 land. Otherwise, you're getting upwards of 3, 4, 5. 10. I don't know. If you have 10 legendaries on the field, you're probably already going to win, but I mean, I could see this being pretty solid. They go to any land, go to the battlefield tapped, put the rest on the bottom in any order. Oh, in a random order. Interesting. Shortcut to Mushrooms, 2 mana enchantment. When Shortcut to Mushrooms enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It's kind of whatever. Shower of Arrows, 3 mana instant, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying, scry 1. It's a bit expensive. Stew the Connies? Stew the Connies. 3 mana instant, target creature control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So you fight something, well, better than fight. They don't fight back. So you just kind of poke something, create a food. Those are okay. Like I said, if you're doing a food deck, this is just a kill spell as long as you have like a decent powered creature. It's a bit of a blowout if they kill that creature because I don't think it can deal damage once it's dead. So then this just fizzles, I think. I think you still create the food though because it's on a separate dot. Alright, Woe's Pathfinder. 2 mana for a 1/1. Add 1 mana of any color. That's solid already. 7 mana. Another target creature gets +3/+3 and gains travel. Yeah. It's okay. It's a decent comment, but it's like just kind of a bad mana rock. I mean, it's okay. Human Shaman, maybe like a human tribal deck where you're just like, I don't know, the 7 mana thing is just brutal. Aragon Company Leader. So now we're in the multicolors. Okay. Aragon Company Leader, 3 mana for a 3/3. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Aragon Company Leader as your ring bearer, you put your choice of counter from among First Strike, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Lifelink on Aragorn. Whenever you put one or more counters on Aragorn, put one of those counters on each of the other creatures, on target other creature. Other target creature. Okay. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. Aragorn the Uniter, 4 mana, 1 of each color but black. 5/5. Whenever you cast a white spell, create a 1/1. Oh, I have seen this one. I've seen this one. We talked about it in Cardboard Conversations. It's not great in my opinion, but it's okay. You create a 1/1 soldier when you cast a white spell. Scry when you cast a blue spell. You'll deal 2 damage to target opponent when you cast a red spell, and then target creature gets +4/+4 when you cast a green spell. It's just kind of like, in my opinion, like when you have like a very powerful legendary, none of these effects really do anything. Like they're not really synergistic in any way. They all just kind of do whatever the fuck they want. Like they're not really. It doesn't wow me. I don't know. It's okay. It's very subpar in my opinion. Arwen Mortal Queen, 3 mana for a 2/2. When she enters the battlefield with an indestructible counter, I like that. Remove an indestructible counter. Why would you want to do that? Another target creature gains protection, indestructible until a turn. You put a 1/1 counter and a lifelink counter on that creature, and a 1/1 counter and a lifelink counter on Arwen. Okay. It's kind of basic, but at the same time, it's kind of a Mother of Runes, one-time type deal. Arwen Undomiel. Undomiel. 2 mana for a 2/2. Whenever you scry, put a 1 counter on target creature, and then you have to pay an ass ton of mana to scry 2. Not great. I mean, I guess if you create infinite mana, then it's like infinite scry, and then infinite counters. Blue-green has an easy enough way to, because it's not tap, I like that. Yeah, I guess blue-green has enough, easy enough way to have infinite mana. So maybe it's not that bad. It's probably a combo piece in some deck. She's kind of cute. The Balrog Durin's Bane, 7 mana, 7/5. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrificed this turn. Haste. The Balrog Durin's Bane can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. Excellent. When it dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. You know what's funny about this? Oh, permanent. But yeah, the tokens are permanents. This spell costs 1 less for each permanent sacrifice this way. So if you sack a bunch of tokens, like a bunch of treasures, you just like this is just 2 mana. 2 mana, 7/5 haster that can't be blocked except by legendary creatures that also destroy something on the way out. It's not terrible. Bilbo Retired Burglar. 3 mana for a 1/3. When he enters the battlefield or leaves, the ring tempts you. And when he deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure. I highly doubt he's going to be creating a treasure token that often. So that line is just basically useless. I mean, it could happen, but like, it's not going to happen that often. Butterbur, Bree, Innkeeper. 4 mana for a 3/3 at the beginning of your end step. If you don't control a food, create a food. It's okay. Not really, but I guess it's fine. I would no. Never mind. I don't know. I guess it's dependable food creation if you're making a food centric deck. So I guess it's okay. Denethor, Ruling Steward. 3 mana for a 2/4 at the beginning of your end step. If your creature died under your control, you get a 1/1. And sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life. It's okay. It's not a tap, but you do have to pay mana for it. There's probably a loop with this and Ashnod's Altar, or whatever the Ashnod, where you actually get 2 colorless. Oh, but it is at the beginning of your end step. So I was thinking that every time you sack a creature, you'd get a creature back. But you only do 1 token. It's okay. Sack Outlet's fine. It's cheap. 2/4. It's fine. It's probably gonna be in some decks. All right, Doors of Durin, 5 mana, legendary artifact. Whenever you attack, scry 2. Then you may reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Until your next turn, it gains trample if you control a dwarf and hexproof if you control an elf. Interesting. That's not bad. If it's a creature card, just go straight on the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Yeah, that's not bad at all. And you're scrying too. That's pretty good. I like it. It's not like game breaking, but it definitely can be strong. I feel like if a few attacks of this, it could get out of hand. 5 mana is a little expensive. I mean, at F5, it's starting to compete with like a Tali, you know? And Tali is way more impactful than this card, but still, not bad. Elrond, the Master of Healing, 4 mana for a 4/4. Whenever you scry, put 1 counter on each of up to X targets. Creatures where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. If you cast and then flicker Bilbo, the ring tempts you 3 times. That could be powerful. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely ways where, like, what I was looking at earlier was that, like, it gets a little lackluster when you max out your ring, when you get to the 4th stage or whatever you want to call it on the emblem. However, every time the ring attempts you, you can choose to have a different creature become your ring bearer, and there's a creature that there's a few different creatures that interact with, like, every time you get tempted by the ring, something happens, like you draw a card. I think it was what's his name? It was a blue card. Gandalf? Yeah, Gandalf, friend of the Shire. So whenever a ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Gandalf, draw a card. So as long as you have one other creature than Bilbo, it can go like Bilbo, or another creature. Then when he comes back in, be Bilbo, and then like when he leaves, another creature or whatever. So then you draw 3 cards. So yeah, there are some synergies if you really go with the ring tempts you strategy. So it's not terrible. It's just, you definitely have to build around it for sure. It's not just overall good. It requires some building, for sure. All right, so Elrond, Master of Healing, 4 mana for 4/4. Whenever you scry, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X targets, where X is the number of cards looked at this way. Okay. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. Okay. I mean, it seems like there's like a theme of, like, whenever you scry, put counters on stuff, and it seems like green's getting a lot of scrying, and especially blue. You're going to be scrying as well. So there's a theme going on here for the scrying and the scrying theme, you know. That isn't blue-red. I like it. Interesting. Green gets scrying, or more scrying, I should say. They always scryed a little bit, but they're getting way more scrying. There's like a green card that just scries 3. I'm like, that's just a... Then if the top card's a non-land card, I think you get to draw or something like that. All right, Eowyn, Fearless Knight, 4 mana, 3/4 haste. Whenever it enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with greater power. Legendary creatures you control gain protection from each of that creature's color until end of turn. Interesting. Exile target creature an opponent controls with greater power. That's not bad. And you get protection from all of their colors until end of turn. That's a solid card. It isn't Boros, but like Boros typically wants to go wide, and it does have haste. Whenever it enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with greater power. Yeah. You just exile a bomb. I mean, 4 mana for a 3/4 is already good, and then legendary creatures you control get protection from all of the colors. Huh. That is a solid creature there. I like it. Put that in a flicker deck and you're even golden, but red is typically not in flickers, so you'll probably not do that, but you could. Faramir, Prince of Ithilien, 4 mana for a 3/3. At the beginning of your end step, choose an opponent. At the beginning of that player's next end step, you draw a card if they didn't attack you that turn. Otherwise, create 3 1/1 human soldiers. In a human deck, I guess. It could be fine. Flame of Anor. 3 mana. Instant. Choose one. If you control a wizard as you cast a spell, you may choose 2. Okay. Target player draws 2 cards. Destroy target artifact. Flame of Anor deals 5 damage to target creature. That's a strong card. That's very flexible, and obviously you put in a wizard deck, so you can get 2 all the time. You draw 2, destroy an artifact for 3. That's pretty solid. You draw 2, deal 5 damage to a creature. That's really good. It's basically the same. Isn't it the same cost as there's a modern deck that runs this, or runs a card like this, where it has like you can draw ditch and deal 2 damage or something like that. I don't know. It's an old card, but definitely I can see this being play for sure. Friendly Rivalry. 2 mana instant. Target creature you control and up to 1 target legendary you control each deal damage equal to their power to target creature you don't control. So it's a fight spell. Okay. Sure. Frodo Baggins. There he is. 2 mana for a 1/3. When it or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, the ring tempts you. As long as Frodo is your ring bearer, it must be blocked if able. It kind of goes against what you want, because whenever you deal combat damage, each opponent loses 3 life, and I guess whenever it becomes blocked, they sack it at the end of turn. So I guess it kind of does that. So you're drawing, ditching, can't be blocked with power greater than it. It's so weird. I don't know. I don't like Frodo. Galadriel of Lothlorien. Galadriel of Lothlorien. 3 mana, 3/3. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than it, as your ring bearer, scry 3. Sure. Whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your library. If a land card is revealed this way, put it on the battlefield tapped. Whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your... Can you scry first? Whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your library. If the land card, put it on the battlefield. I wonder if you have to scry first. I think you have to scry first. Whenever you scry... I don't know how the ordering of that works. Because if you get to put a land card every time you scry in the battlefield, that's insane. It's very strong. Whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your library. I feel like it's like on resolution of the scry. I feel like this is a very strong card. There's no rulings on it. Interesting. I think it's very strong. If I'm wrong, then it is what it is. Gandalf the Grey. 5 mana for a 3/4. Whenever you cast instant or sorcery spell, choose one that hasn't been chosen. You may tap or untap target permanent. Gandalf the Grey deals 3 damage each opponent. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new copies for the spell, or new targets for the spell, and put Gandalf on top of its owner's library. Now, I don't like that. If you flicker him, it resets all the modes, but like having to redraw him kind of sucks. I don't want to redraw him. I mean, you're playing blue-red, so of course you'll have plenty of draw, but yeah, not a big fan. The modes are kind of whatever. They're okay. Tap or untap target permanents, kind of whatever. I mean, you can untap like a land that you use to cast a spell, but then what are you doing? I guess you're maybe just casting the spell for free. It's okay for a 1 mana spell. 3 damage to each opponent's okay. Copy target instant sorcery spell is very strong, obviously. And then putting Gandalf on top, maybe it's not so bad. The copy target instant sorcery spell is very strong. I can see it getting value. Alright, so Gandalf Sanction. Gandalf Sanction deals X damage to target creature, where X is the number of instant and sorcery spells in your graveyard. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. Oh, interesting. Huh. That's not horrible. It's sorcery, which sucks. Alright. Fucking cat, dude. Just meowing constantly. Her cat always meows. My mom, she moved in. She's got a cat. The cat just fucking meows when she's outside. She's not home. It just meows for hours. It's ridiculous. Anyways, Gimli, Mournful Avenger. 3 mana for a 3/2. It's indestructible as long as 2 or more creatures died on your controller's turn. Well, that's kind of shit. Whenever another creature you control dies, you put 1 counter on him, and when this ability dissolves for the 3rd time, he fights something. In red green, I don't know. There's a lot of work. Not a big fan. It's a lot of work. Um, Gwei here, the Wind Lord, 6 mana for a 4/4. This spell costs 2 less to cast as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. So then it'd be a 4 mana 4/4 Flying Vig, and then other birds you control have Vig. I mean, it's not gonna be too hard to draw 2 cards in blue. Well, really, just you have to draw 1 more card, so that's not bad. But the Flying Vig, other birds you control have Vig. I mean, you could do Bird Tribal. I'm sure that's a thing. This could be the new Bird Tribal Commander. If it was 2 less for every 2 cards you've drawn this turn, this card would be very playable. Otherwise, I think it's just kind of meh. Maybe if you're playing some Bird Tribal deck, it'll be pretty good. King of the Oathbreakers, 4 mana for a 3/3. Flying. Whenever King of the Oathbreaker or another spirit you control becomes a target of a spell, it phases out. Treat it and anything attached to it as though they don't exist. Whenever King of the Oathbreaker or another spirit you control phases in, create a tapped 1/1 spirit with flying. Huh. That is very annoying. That just fizzles all single target removal. Wow. That's a very strong commander. For spirits, we make a spirit tribal deck, which I'm sure there are plenty of. Whenever King of the Oathbreakers or another spirit you control becomes a target of a spell, it phases out. Yeah, that's very good. Wow. That basically means you have to board wipe or you just don't. Can't remove anything. It's very good. I like that. I mean, like, how many spirit tribal decks are there? Look at that, 10,000. Look at that, top commanders. There he is. And he only has 110. He's new. Not really. I wouldn't say top, but I do think it'll be. Although the colors, I guess how many white black? I mean, there has to be a decent number of white black spirits. Huh. Very interesting. Yeah, he's pretty solid. Legolas, Counter of Kills, 4 mana. Didn't I already read this card? Oh, maybe not. Maybe it was just the green one. 4 mana for a 2/3 reach. Whenever you scry, if Legolas Counter of Kills is tapped, you may untap it. Do this only once each turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a 1/1 counter on Legolas. Sorry. More yelling at the cat. Yes. So, and anyways, I lost complete. I just can't. It's just the meowing. All right. 2/3. Whenever you scry, counter. Wait, if it's tapped, you untap it. Okay. Once each turn. Kind of boring. Lotho, Corrupt Sheriff. 2 mana for a 2/1. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, you lose 1 life and create a treasure. That's not terrible. Maher Uruk, High Captain. 2 mana for a 2/2. If 1 or more 1/1 counters would be put onto the army, I need to be right back. Sorry, it was driving me insane. All right, back to where we were. So Mahar Urakai Captain, 2 mana, 2/2. If one or more counters are put on an army, a goblin, or an orc, put them any counters +1. Sure, it's cheap. It's fine. It's got menace. It includes itself, right? Yeah. Squire of Rohan, 2 mana, 2/2, has first strike as long as it's equipped, and whenever you attack with Mary and another legendary creature, draw a card. Could be a decent Tron commander or Voltron. The Mouth of Sauron, 5 mana for a 3/4. When the Mouth of Sauron enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards, then amasses Orcs X. Then amass Orcs X, where X is the number of instant sorceries in that player's graveyard. I don't know. I don't really like mill. Not my thing. All right, Tree Folk, Old Man Willow, 4 mana, Star, power to equal number of land you control. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or token. When you do, target creature gets -1, or -2, -2 until end of turn. Kind of whatever. Could be fine in a Tree Folk tribal deck. It's probably okay. Pippin, Guard of the Citadel, 2 mana for a 2/2. Vigilance, Ward 1, decent. Another target creature you control gains protection from the card type of your choice until end of turn. It can't be blocked, targeted, dealt damage, enchanted, or equipped by anything of that type. It's kind of like a Mother of Runes with like a little bit of protection. Can't protect itself, so it's like not as good as Mother of Runes because Mother of Runes is fucking. I hate that card. It's fine. Yeah, Pippin's fine. Prince Imrahil the Fair, 2 mana for a 2/2. So I'm seeing a theme here: 2 mana, 2/2, 2 mana, 2/2. There's some more 2 mana, 2/2. Yep, all of these are 2 mana, 2/2s. Excellent. 2 mana, 2/2. Prince Imrahil the Fair. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a soldier. Kind of boring, but sure, it's fine. Ring Sight, 3 mana, sorcery. The ring tempts you. Search your library for a card that shares a color with a legend. Search your library for a card that shares a color with the legendary creature you control. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. It's very expensive, considering Black has access to Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, Diabolic Intent. There's so many. Not instant speed. It's 3 mana. It is an uncommon. It's fine. Oh, it does. You also get the ring tempts you thing as well. It's okay. Rise of the Witch King, 4 mana, sorcery. Each player sacrifices a creature. If you sacrifice a creature this way, you may return another permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each player sacrifices a creature. If you sacrifice a creature this way, you may return another permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I like that. It's a reanimate spell that also makes everybody sack shit. Sure, yeah. Not bad at all. A little pricey, but I mean it's a reanimate spell, so not bad at all. And it's in the colors that I like. I need to make a really good black-green deck. Really, I really do. It's like Golgari is like one of my favorite colors, especially back when I played Standard, when like Mutagenic Ooze and Scavenging Ooze and Predator Ooze. I played like I played like a Grizzly Salvage, and I played a Standard deck that was just this Golgari monster deck. I loved it. All the creatures were super resilient, very flexible. They're either indestructible or they got hexproof. It was a good deck. It wasn't like a meta deck, but I made it pretty good amount of top fives or top threes at FNN. Okay, Samwise Gamgee, another 2 mana for a 2/2. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a food. Sacrifice 3 foods. Return target historic card from your graveyard to your hand. Sure, it's fine. If you're in a food token deck and you want to recur some historic cards, yeah, this could be decent. It's cheap. It has a way to generate food. Yeah. Saruman of Many Colors. 6 mana, 5/4. Ward. Discard an enchantment card, instant or sorcery. Okay. Very specific ward. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, each opponent mills 2 cards. When one or more cards are milled this way, exile target enchantment, instant, or sorcery card with equal or lesser mana value than that spell from an opponent's graveyard. Copy the exiled card. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. So whenever you cast your second spell each turn, they do that. They mill cards, and then whenever one or more cards are milled, exile target enchantment, instant, or sorcery card with lesser mana from a opponent's graveyard. Oh, so it doesn't even have to be from the cards that were milled. Copy the card, you may cast it. Huh. Interesting. This could be very annoying to play against. I mean, when you have access to everybody's graveyard, does it say your own? Do you mill? Each opponent mills 2 cards. No, so you don't mill yourself. But whenever one or more cards are milled this way, exile target enchantment from an opponent's graveyard. So yeah, you can't do it from yourself, which is it's fair, I guess. Still not bad though. The ward cost is very interesting. Yeah, it's very specific. That's a very good ward. It's not like it basically requires like 2 kill spells, or like you're giving up something more than just mana. Like ward with mana is not like that great. It's annoying, but it's not that great. This requires you to have like these things, or it's just fucking hexproof basically. I can see Sauron of many colors being decent. All right, Sauron the Dark Lord. He's also 6 mana for a 7/6. Ward, sacrifice a legendary artifact or legendary creature. Okay. Also another very specific ward. Easier to do though, I would say. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, amass Orcs 1. Okay. Whenever an army you control deals combat damage to a player, the ring tempts you. Okay. And whenever the ring tempts you, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 4 cards. Wow. Oof. You can make a pretty dirty Sauron Dark Lord deck. He's not going to be competitive because he's 6 mana, but like, that's interesting. I like it. Sauron's Ransom, 3 mana instant. Choose an opponent. They look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other pile into your graveyard. The ring tempts you. Ooh, this is like Fact or Fiction, but opposite. Opposite Fact or Fiction, I think, if I remember correctly. They look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into... Well, there's like a land that does this, where you go get 4 lands and they put them in the 2 piles and you get to pick one. The other one goes to the graveyard. This is kind of like that. Instant speed. 1 face-up pile, 1 face-down pile. That's fun. I like that. Because you don't get to see what they are. You only get to see what the face-up pile is. It's pretty good. You'll almost always take the cards, the ones with many cards in it. Alright, Shadow Summoning. 2 sorcery. Create 2 tapped spirits with flying. Generic, but sure. Shadowfax, Lord of Horses. Okay. 5 mana 4/4. Horses you control have haste. Excellent. Horse tribal. Whenever Shadowfax, Lord of Horses attacks, you may put a creature card with lesser power from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Okay. Horse tribal, sure. Shagrat, Loot Bearer. 4 mana for 4/4. Whenever he attacks, attach up to 1 target equipment to it. Do you have... Wait, then amass Orcs X, where X is the number of equipment attached to target Shagrat. Attached to Shagrat. Controlled equipment doesn't change. You can steal... That's what I was going to ask. Wait, it doesn't say equipment you control. You can take other people's equipment. Huh. I mean, obviously they can unequip it from your creature, but like, it takes them mana to do that. It takes them... they can only do it on their turn as a sorcery. Very interesting. Whenever he attacks, you just get to steal somebody's equipment. It's like, hey, let me borrow that for the turn. I don't know. Our group doesn't play a ton of equipments, but like in a group that does, this guy could be a pretty fun. And of course, you get to amass X. So he's like a Tron. He's like a Tron amass. Actually, you probably don't even need to amass. You just do Tron, because he just amasses already. Voltron, that is. Sharky, Tyrant of the Shire. 4 mana 2/4. Activated abilities of lands your opponent's control can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Okay. Sharky, Tyrant of the Shire has all activated abilities of all your opponent's control. All lands your opponent control except for mana abilities. Mana of any type can be spent to activate Sharky's abilities. Huh. I like that. Card's dirty. There's a lot of powerful lands out there. Activated abilities of your lands, your opponent's control. I mean, sure. It's kind of niche. There isn't like a ton of times where I'm like, man, I wish I had that opponent's land. Shalab, child of Ungoliant. Ungoliant. 6 mana, 8/8, Death Touch, Ward 2. Okay. Other spiders you control have Death Touch and Ward 2. And whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a food artifact. With sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life, and it loses all other card types. So it's like spider tribal. Interesting. Also, except that it's a food. Oh, and it loses all other card types. But it doesn't lose. Wait, hold on. Whenever another creature dealt damage this way by dealt damage this turn by a spider you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except for it's a food. So it has like abilities on it. It doesn't lose. It loses card types, but it doesn't actually lose its abilities. Huh. Interesting. And because all of your spiders have Death Touch, that could be fun. And also very annoying to track. You'll have a bunch of food tokens, but the food tokens will also be creatures. Well, not creatures, but like they'll be copies of things. So you'll have to have a copy food token. Smeagol, helpful guide. 3 mana for a 4/2 at the beginning of your end step. If a creature died under your control, this turn, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, target opponent reveals the top card of their library until they reveal a land. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped on your control, and then the rest into their graveyard. Huh. He's fun. Whenever the ring tempts you, target opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land card. You get their land, and then the rest goes to the grave. Ooh, I kind of want to make a Smeagol tempt deck. I mean, all you're getting is lands, but you're milling their shit too, so it's kind of weird. It's kind of spicy. It's not great, but it's probably fun. Strider, Ranger of the North. 4 mana for a 4/4 landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Then, if that creature has power 4 or greater, it gains first strike. Okay. Theoden, King of Rohan. 3 mana for a 2/3. Whenever he or another human enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets double strike. Tom Bombadil. I've heard, Bombadil? Yeah, Tom Bombadil. I've heard of this one. This one's fun. I don't know how crazy it'll be, but sagas can go bonkers. So, but he's Wooburg and 4. For Wooburg for a 4/4. As long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible. Whenever the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a saga card. Put that card on the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library. This ability only triggers once each turn. Yeah, sagas can go nuts. There's ways with like, I forgot how my buddy did it exactly, but there was like counters that he was able to like remove from maybe like Saprolings and then like reoccur. It was like a Go Shintai deck, so I don't know if you specifically need Go Shintai to do it, but it was like loopy, like not necessarily infinite, but like basically infinite. So very interesting. So Tom Bombadil, I think he's going to be fun. I don't know if he's going to be like super competitive or anything, but I think it'll be a very fun saga deck. Ugluk of the White Hand. 4 mana for a 3/3. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Ugluk of the White Hand. If that creature was a goblin or an orc, put 2 counters on him instead. Boring. Anduril, the Flame of the West. 3 mana to equip. Equipped creature gets +3/+1. The guy kind of looks like a young Morgan Freeman, by the way, in the picture there. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so again, equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you create 2 tapped spirits that are flying. If the creature is legendary, instead create 2 of those tokens that are tapped and attacking. I mean, it'll go in the Spirit Tribal deck. Alright, we're in the colorless section. Final stretch, and then there's going to be land, and then there's going to be a bunch of variants, I'm sure. Barrow Blade, 1 mana. Equipped creature is +1/+1. 1 mana to equip, which is pretty good. Whenever a equipped creature blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, that creature loses all abilities until end of turn. Okay. Ent Draught Basin. 2 mana. Artifact. X. Put a counter on target creature with power X. Activate only as a sorcery. It's boring. Glamdring. Glamdring? Glamdring. 2 mana. Legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature has first strike and gets +1/+0 for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. That's not bad. It's already pretty cheap. It's competing with the swords, though, because the swords are like 3 to play, 2 to equip, so it's the same mana cost. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may cast an instant sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the combat damage, or to that damage without paying its mana cost. Sure, that's not bad. Okay. In certain decks, I'm sure it'll be fine. Horn of Gondar, 3 mana, legendary artifact. When it enters the battlefield, create a human soldier. Pay 3 mana, create X 1/1s, where X is the number of humans you control. Wow. It's like a goblin. What is that guy? It's like the goblin war chief dude that taps and equals, makes the number of goblins. Create X white human soldier tokens, where X is the number of humans you control. On an artifact. Wow. That's very strong. And it gives you 1 automatically. Is this like a pricey card? Probably not, but only $1? Human Tribal has to love this. Oh, there's going to be another Horn. Horn of the Mark, 2 mana, legendary artifact. Whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, look at the top 5 cards of your library. Top 5, okay. You reveal a creature card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Not bad at all. Inherited Envelope, 3 mana, artifact. Whenever it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And then it's a mana rock. Sure, that would go and I would auto-include in any of the ring tempts you decks. Lembas, 2 mana. Whenever Lembas enters the battlefield, scry 1, then draw a card. 2 mana, tap, sacrifice Lembas, you gain 3 life. Whenever it's put into the graveyard, shuffle into his owner's library. Scry 1, draw, gain 3, and it shuffles in. Pretty boring. Mirror of Galadriel. 2 mana, legendary artifact. Pay 5 mana, scry 1, draw. It costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. In Legendary Tribal, it could be good. Just tap, scry 1, draw. Every turn. Sure. It's fine. Mithril Coat. 3 mana, flash, indestructible. When Mithril Coat enters the battlefield, attach it to legendary control. Creature is indestructible. It's okay. It's all it does. It's protection. It's like a, I don't know, kind of whatever. The One Ring! Oh my god, this is the card that everybody wants. $2 million. The One Ring, 4 colorless, indestructible, legendary artifact. When the One Ring enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. So it's like a Teferi's protection-ish. The beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on the One Ring. Put a burden counter on the One Ring, then draw a card for each burden counter on the One Ring. Yeah, this will see play, for sure. It's solid. Plantier of Orthanc. 3 mana, legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, put an influence counter on Plantier of Orthanc and scry 2. Then, target opponent may have you draw a card. If that player doesn't, you mill X cards, where X is the number of influence counters on Palantir of Orthanc, and the player loses life equal to the total mana value of those cards. Interesting. So at your end step, you put an influence counter, you scry 2. Then, you're like, hey, opponent, can I draw a card? And they're like, no. You mill the cards, and they lose life equal to the total mana value. Interesting. I like it. In a self-mill deck, where you want to mill, and it's like a bad choice that you either draw or you mill, and you're always scrying no matter what, I could see this scene play in some certain strategies. Not bad. File of Galadriel, 3 mana. If you would draw a card while you have no cards in hand, draw 2 cards instead. Hellbend strategy, maybe? I don't know. If you would gain life while you have 5 or less life, you gain twice that much life instead. And then it's a mana rock. It's a pretty good mana rock, honestly. That's a strong mana rock. I mean, the life gain in Commander is kind of whatever. It's very rarely going to come into play. But the card draw while you have no cards in hand, that's relevant. It's like a Commander Sphere, but not with with no limitations, and you don't get rid of it. It's a solid card. Shire Scarecrow, 2-mana defender. Add 1 mana of any color. Activate only once each turn. Gross. Sting the Glington Dagger, 2 mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. It has haste. At the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it isn't as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc. Equipped 2. I like this. This is kind of cool because this allows you to equip one of your commanders. The type of commanders that like have like a tap ability, and then like they're not useful for damage, but like they could be a big body, but you're like always using them for their tap ability. So this either allows you to use their tap ability twice, or actually allows you to attack. You're probably just going to use their tap ability twice if it's that good. Stone of Erect. 1. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile instead. Sacrifice Stone of Erect. Exile target player's graveyard. Draw a card. That's a pretty solid uncommon. It specifically only exiles your opponent's creatures, which is really nice. So any kind of... I mean, well, it does say die. So, like, if they milled, it wouldn't count. But you do have the ability to exile their graveyard at any time. Yeah, that's solid. It's one of those, like, sideboard-ish cards where, like, if you know you're playing against somebody with a ton of either death triggers or... Because they would get no death triggers. This removes all death triggers from your opponents, which is already pretty good. But also having the ability to exile a graveyard at any time is pretty good, too. Yeah, this is pretty solid uncommon. All right, Wizard Rockets. Enters the battlefield sideways. You can pay X, tap it, sack it, add X mana in any combination of any colors, and when it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. So it's like a mana filter for 1 turn. Enters the battlefield tapped, which is annoying. Alright, on to the lands. Brother. Brother enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Taps for black. And then you can amass Orcs X, activate only if a creature died this turn by playing X, X, and black. It's kind of a free land in an amass deck. I'm sure it's fine. And it's not as a sorcery, it's only if a creature's died. So you can still do it at the end of turn. It's okay. It probably goes in any amass deck. Great Hall of the Citadel. Tap for colorless, or you can filter that mana to add 2 mana in any combination of any colors for only legendary spells. That's not bad. The Grey Havens, legendary land. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1. You can tap it to add a colorless, or tap it to add 1 mana of any color among legendary creature cards in your graveyard. It doesn't enter tapped, and it scries. And it taps for a colorless, and it also could be of any color of anything in your graveyard. It's a decent card. Minas Tirith. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Add white. You can draw a card. Activate only if you have attacked with 2 or more creatures this turn. 3 mana, draw a card. Not great. And it also requires you to attack. Mines of Moria. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Adds red. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Create 2 treasures. I like that. That's really good. Well, I shouldn't say really good. It's playable. If it was exile 3 cards from any graveyard, it'd be really, really good. But obviously that's way too strong. Mount Doom. I have seen this one. This one was somewhere. Pay 1 life. Add a red or a black. Tap it. Pay a black, a red, and colorless. It deals 1 damage to each opponent. This and the new Obnixilis Captive Kingpin is not terrible. You can do it at the end of turn. Exile something. So this will definitely see some play. 7 mana, sacrifice it, and a legendary artifact. Choose up to 2 creatures, then destroy the rest. Activate only as a sorcery. Having to have a legendary artifact is a little rough. I'm sure there's plenty of legendary artifacts to run, but like to build it around the land is a little meh. So definitely that ability, but I still think it's a dual land. It's still it's a lot of flexibility. I guess what I'm saying. It's a solid card. Rivendell, legendary land, enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Add blue. Or scry 2, activate only if you control a legendary creature. I mean, tap 2, scry 2, that's solid on a land. That's gonna see a play for sure. That's gotta be a few bucks, right? I mean, no, but ooh, that looks really good. I mean, it's blurry, but is the no? Yeah, it's just blurry. Why is it so blurry? But yeah, I like that. It's a solid card. The Shire. Enter the battlefield, tap, let's control a legendary creature. Green. And tap an untapped creature you control, create a food. In a food deck, sure. Shire Terrace. Taps for colorless, or you can sack and go get a basic into the battlefield tapped with 1 mana. That's fine. To me, this is a way I wouldn't like. I don't play Terramorphic Expanse. I don't play those at all because, I mean, like this gives you the mana right away. But Terramorphic Expanse is just basically a tapped land, and it's a basic. I mean, you know, I never play them, ever. I never play them. I try not to as much as possible, unless the budget's, like, really tight. Shire Terrace, just in my opinion, seems to be just a better version of them. It requires a mana to activate, sure, but you can do it at any time. And it has, it provides colorless regardless. Alright, so we've got basic lands, don't really care about them, don't really care about those. Those are the different Nazguls. You can have one of each, which is, it's flavorful. It is kind of funny because I'm fairly certain that means that there's gonna like 8, yeah, there's, oh my god, is there full arts of these as well? No, maybe not. If there were showcase versions of these, like the full arts, that means there'd be like 27 different versions of the Nazguls. I mean, there might be, but I don't see them. Okay, jumpstart cards. Are these new? Saradoc, Master of Buckland. Whenever it or another non-token enters the battlefield of power 2 or less, create a soldier. A white soldier token? Or white halfling token, sorry. Tap 2 other untapped halflings you control. So he gets +2 in lifelink. Meh. Elvish Mariner, 3/2 for 3. When it attacks, scry 1. And whenever you scry, tap up to X target non-land permanents, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying. Well, that's annoying. Non-land permanents. Yeah, this one's annoying. I can see Elvish Mariner seeing play. Ringwraith, 6 mana, 5/5. When it enters the battlefield, target creature and opponent control gets -3/-3 until end of turn. If that creature is legendary, its controller loses 3 life. When the ring tempts you, return Ringwraith from your graveyard to your hand. Too much mana. 6 mana is way too much. Assault on Osgiliath. Osgiliath. Gileath. 3 mana X, amass X, then it deals. Then goblins and orcs you control gain double strike and haste until end of turn. It's a lot of mana, but like double strike and haste? Sure, goblins wouldn't mind that. Eleanor Gardener. 4 mana for 2/4. When it enters the battlefield, create a food token at the beginning of your end step. If you sacrifice a food this turn, you may search your library for a basic land card. Put that card on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Yeah, that would definitely go in the food deck, for sure. Starter decks. Aragon and Arwen Wed. Vigilant, 6 mana for a 3/6 Vigilance. Whenever whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, put a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control, then gain 1 life for each other creature you control. It's a lot of mana, but like, it's a decent ability. It's not bad, especially in a 1/1 counter-centric deck. Sure. Sauron the Lidless Eye, 5 mana, 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste. And you can pay 3 mana, creatures you control get 2/0 until end of turn. Each opponent loses 2 life. That's not bad at all, really. In Two-Headed Giant, it's pretty good. You pay 3 mana, they lose 4. Your creatures get boofed. I mean, you could just keep doing just pumping your creatures and just drain them. And of course, you gain it. Take control of target creature and opponent controls, and then you, of course, will sack it with like any of your plethora of Village Rites or Deadly Dispute or whatever. Yeah, Sauron the Lidless Eye is probably kind of cool. Frodo, Determined Hero, 2 mana for 2/2. Whenever he attacks or enters the battlefield, you may attach target equipment you control with a mana value 2 or 3 to Frodo. As long as it's your turn, prevent all damage that will be dealt to Frodo. It's an okay It's an okay Voltron, but it's mono white. You're not gonna have it as a commander. It'd probably be in the deck though. Gandalf, White Rider, 4 mana for a 3/3 Vig. Whenever you cast a spell, creatures you control. Whenever you cast a spell, creatures you control get +1/+0 till end of turn. Scry 1. Wow, that's solid actually. Any spell you cast, they all get 1/0, huh? And you get to scry. Whenever he dies, you may put it into its owner's library, 5th from the top. Meh. Knights of the Deep. Basic 3 mana to 3/2. Alright. With a ton of flavor text. Golem, Scheming Guy, 2 mana. Whenever attacks, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put them back in any order, then choose land or non-land. An opponent guesses whether the top card of your library is the chosen kind. Reveal that card. If they guessed right, remove Golem from combat. Otherwise, you draw a card and Golem can't be blocked. Huh. Interesting. That's a little fun. Witch King, Bringer of Ruin. 6 mana for a 5/3. Whenever it attacks, defending player sacrifice a creature with the least power among creatures they control. It's a little expensive. 1 more mana and you're getting into Archon of Cruelty territory, and Archon of Cruelty destroys this thing. Alright, Fires of Mount Doom. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to target creature and opponent controls. Destroy all equipment attached to that creature. That's really good. 3 mana. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. When you play a card this way, Fires of Mount Doom deals 2 damage each player. Another very strong card. I like that. Goblin Assailant, just vanilla. Galadriel, Gift Giver, 5 mana for a 4/4. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, choose 1. Create a food, create a treasure, or put a 1/1 counter on another target creature you control. Put another target creature. Yeah, it doesn't have to be you control. You can give gifts to anybody. The Balrog, Flame of Udin. 5 mana, 7/7. Whenever a legendary creature an opponent controls dies, put Balrog, the Flame of Udin, on the bottom of its owner's library. It's just as bad, right? Whenever a legendary creature an opponent controls die, you put this guy to the bottom of its library. Yeah, it's not very good. A Bilbo's Ring. 3 mana. As long as it's your turn, equipped creature has hexproof and can't be blocked. Whenever equipped creature attacks alone, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Equipped creature, equip Halfling 1, equip anything else 4. Not great. Serialized card, 1 of 1 ring, of course. Showcase cards. Some of them are really blurry. So I mean, the borders, it's fine. It's kind of weird. It almost looks, I don't know, almost looks unfinished or fake. It's interesting. The white does, that is. I mean, I guess I kind of all do. There's a lot of like empty. I don't know. It looks strange. They look fake. I'm not a fan. Yeah, I really don't like any of these. They look kind of. Some of the art's cool, like Galadriel. She's nuts. I actually think she's really strong. Kind of want to build hers. If the wording is how I think it is, whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you get to do this after you scry, it's pretty good. You're gonna get a lot of landfall triggers. Ooh, this looks kind. Gandalf the Grey looks pretty cool in this image here. It's like pulling them down, like in the movie. I've seen the movie. What is this? Why is Denethor so different than all the rest? This looks good. I like this. What happened? I'm so confused. Why is it like this, but every other card is not? This border sucks. But this is cool. Huh. Ooh, these look good. Brother looks pretty good. Mount Doom looks great. These look kind of boring. This is kind of okay. Rivendell's really blurry, but it looks still pretty good. Shire looks okay. Mine's pretty, well, it's here twice for some reason. The exact same image. Excellent. These are just extended art. Extended arts are cool. I like extended arts. It's the scene cards. Yeah, so this is the I think most of, well, actually, I don't even know. Where are these from? I'm not even sure if it says where they're from. It might just be in the normal. There might be like a scene set. I know that there's like the 4 cards that are in the the collector's fat pack. There's like a 4 scene card, but none of these are it, I don't think. Yeah, Delighted Halfling's great. It's a very good card. Ooh, Lash of Balrog looks pretty cool. Not like that great of a card, but not horrible. Sauron of Many Colors. That looks really good. Ooh, some of these look great. Even this random ass crap bird looks pretty good. Storm of Saruman looks pretty good. Oh, it's Saruman. It's not Saruman? Saruman. Not Sauron. It's different. I thought for some reason I was thinking this was Saruman, but it's Saruman. Probably. Yeah, the art of these are great. I think Last March to the End is going to cause some tilt. It could be very strong. They're pretty cool. Ooh. Yeah, this looks really good. She's really strong, actually. I like Exiles on a stick, especially if you bounce it. I mean, having red is makes it a little difficult, but I'm sure you can make it happen. A flicker deck with red. That's kind of cool. Pippin looks constipated. Nice. Bladra looks good. I like it. I think this is it. You get these 3? 4, yeah. Pretty sure you get all of these. The Frodo, Samwise, Gollum, and the One Ring as the collector thing. They were on Amazon for like $69 for like 2 days, and then they were sold out afterwards. I was surprised they lasted for 2 days. So buy a box promo is Lorien Brute, which is the Trailblazer Boots. Promo Saruman of Many Colors and Gandalf the White. And that's it. Honestly, there was, I don't know, what, 30, 40, maybe 50 cards that were playable of the 289. I'd say it's pretty solid overall. I think the set's decent. As far as value is concerned, I mean, I don't even know. I think I have TCG up right now. I can't see. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see many. This is gonna be a slaughter. People are buying these. Yeah, people are buying these collector boxes for $4.49. And if you look at the cards, the only thing that's worth money is the serialized cards. Like realistically, when you're paying $4.50 a box, there's no way you make money unless you open the ring. Or a any serialized ring, you're fine. But yeah, these pre-sale prices they're the highest they're going to be. I don't really think I see any of these other cards go up. I was a little surprised. Orcish Bowmasters is $20. Like it does look good. Like it's a good card. I didn't think $20 is good. It's very interesting. You also have to imagine, with the amount of people that are opening these boxes, there's 3 million boxes being printed. 3 million collector packs. Sorry, 3 million collector packs. That's a lot of cards, and people are gonna want to open a lot of them. It's gonna be a lot of these cards being opened, and people are gonna want to sell them, and the prices are gonna just plummet. So I would definitely not buy them right away. Why is this card $18? Oh yeah. This is the good one. This is the one where the enchantment where you create treasures. Yeah. This is a good one. It's like a Meat Hook Massacre, but for red, kind of, without the minus counters. But like it has effects that happen, which are I like it. It's pretty good. What other cards are in the value here? Wow, it plummets in value very quickly. Anduril, I don't really foresee this one going up. I think it'll just continue to go down. Dawn of New Age was fine. I like that card. I think it'll see play, especially in it'll see play in Standard. It'll see play in Commander. I don't know of any other formats that I would think they would actually see play in, but I mean, it's fairly consistent card draw. And then when it dies, you sack it and gain 4 life. Sure. Wow, the card's plummet in price after that. Pretty bad. Now, granted, of course, these are just pre-sale prices, but typically pre-sale prices are higher than normal. So, I mean, I feel like this is going to be... I mean, I think Bob said it as well in our chat. He was like, this is going to be one of the worst feels bad sets. Like, if you don't get a serialized card, it's just going to... Paying $4.50 a box is insane. Rudy's doing a sale tonight for these boxes at $3.99, and I still think $400 is way. I'm not even gonna bother. I have a box or two of the these boxes here. Wow, these are up to $130. Damn! Look at that! Look at that price hump! Holy! I'll have to show the boys that. Well, anyways, it's been a long stream. It's I started at 9:15 and it's already noon. I normally don't stay up this late, but I'm gonna get some food, probably watch a little bit, and go to sleep. So, hope you guys enjoyed. If you had made it through 2 hours of video, I normally am the type of person that like long form content. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll probably end up making a bunch of shorts and maybe even just do some shorter content from this video as well. So if you didn't watch the entire video, I'll have maybe some shorts of each card that I really liked. I'll pick the top like 30 and make a short for each day, and you guys will see which cards I really liked. So thanks for watching, everybody, and see you next time.